The last video showed how Sejun told the Black Minotaur that the grass he stole and ate was worth 100 tower coins. On learning that the Minotaur had no money, he told him he could pay him back with his body, and by that, he meant by working in his field. The Minotaur was not sure about the offer, but as soon as he heard about free food in his job, he immediately agreed to the job without even asking what the job profile was like. After that, Sejun and the Black Rabbit hunted some crayfish for dinner, and after hunting, the Black Warrior Rabbit evolved, and his wooden hammer changed shape and got a pointed end. Sejun was impressed and decided to leave all the hunting to him from now on. However, that was not the only surprise waiting for him. Soon, the bear family came there and called him out to show him the nest of the poison honeybees on the big rock they use for their elevator. The new queen bee came to Sejun on hearing the commotion, and as she cuddled with him, he realized she left him because she wanted to create a hive on her own. The queen bee introduced her kids to their master and his friends. Soon, the Black Minotaur came there because it was supposed to be his first day at work, but instead of a helping senior, he found the mama bear, who was one of his most deadly enemies. She also did not like him because she thought he was an intruder. They wanted to fight to death, and when nothing worked to stop them, Sejun turned to the greatest weapon in his arsenal and told them that if they didn't stop fighting, none of them would get any food. His words were heard by the two titans, his other friends, and even the tower manager, Aileen, who were all equally terrified of Sejun's words and immediately stopped whatever they were doing. Now, Sejun furiously commands everyone to sit down, and it's not a surprise that they obey. From the little rabbits to the giant crimson bear and the Black Minotaur, all creatures sit before him. Even Aileen sits down on her knees in her cave because she is terrified of Sejun's rage now. Sejun then addresses the mama bear and the Minotaur, saying that if they both go on a rampage like this, not just the field and the crops but other people around them, like him and the rabbits, will also be harmed. The two giant monsters seem to understand his words, and then Sejun thinks of an interesting way to break their fight and make them come to an understanding. He thinks that having a meal together will bring them closer and immediately turns to his rabbit friends. The rabbits wonder what he wants, and he tells them that it is time to eat now as he claps his hands. Soon, the rabbits get to work. The Black Warrior Rabbit effortlessly hunts down crayfish and normal fish with his upgraded hammer, while the Sickle Rabbit harvests spring onions for everyone. One rabbit grills corns, while the remaining two transport food, with the fat cart rabbit drooling as he carries roasted corns. In the meantime, Sejun is roasting the spring onions on a cast iron pan, and soon the entire tasting menu is ready. They have grilled corn, roasted fish, and roasted spring onions, which are a grand surprise for the two fighting giants. They start eating, and the Minotaur thanks Sejun for the food. Sejun sits in front of them and tells them to take their time to eat. He also sends a basket of grilled corn to the tower manager, Aileen, and tells her to enjoy it. Aileen takes it and thanks Sejun. The Minotaur remarks how delicious the food is as he stretches his hand towards the corn platter, but at the same time, Mama Bear also wants a corn. As their hands reach near, the situation again gets tense, and they are ready to fight with each other over food. Sejun and the rabbits wonder how to calm them down, and he decides to start with some introductions. He tells both of them to hear him while they eat. First, he introduces Kyung's mom as the bodyguard and protector of the fields. The mama bear is grumpy as her introduction is going on, but Kyung is happy that his name was called. Then Sejun goes to introduce the Minotaur, but he hasn't even learned his name yet. The Minotaur introduces himself as Ox number 3. Sejun just repeats that and says that from now on, Ox number 3 is going to help him with the fieldwork. Kyung's mom is not impressed, and then Sejun addresses both the giants and tells them that they must not fight here, because if they do, there will be no food for them. Both the mama bear and the Minotaur are terrified that they won't get anything to eat if they fight, and they decide to leave behind their enmity for the sake of food. They shake hands, like the enmity between North Korea and South Korea has come to an end. They don't leave each other's hands for quite some time, and Sejun thinks they like each other better now. Theo also tells him that the mama bear wants him to focus on the handshake. After that, Ox number 3 asks Sejun the most important question. He wants to know what kind of work he needs to do here. Sejun realizes that the Minotaur was too greedy for food and forgot the most important part. As he cuddles with Theo on his lap, he tells him that the work he has to do is obvious. After that, Sejun takes Ox 3 to the vast barren plains outside his cave. He tells him to dig up this field just like he did during the blue moon. Sejun tells Minotaur that he just needs to turn the soil upside down and bring up the soft, fertile soil on the surface of this patch of land before lunch. The Minotaur thinks it is child's play and asks Sejun if this is all he needs to do, and he will be given lunch for doing this on top of breakfast and paid for doing that. Sejun says, of course, he will get some good benefits because he is a kind employer. Ox number 3 immediately gets to work and crouches on the field, and Sejun and Theo curiously watch him. The Minotaur brings forth its real power and enlarges its horns, and Sejun and the cat merchant are stunned to see it. The Minotaur starts digging through the soil with unbelievable speed. It almost does an action between sprinting and swimming through the field as it moves loudly. The Minotaur is lost in the fantasy of the food he will receive after doing this work. He is motivated to work hard because of it, and Sejun is happy with that. He thinks that now it will be very easy to plow the ground, and plans to plant spring onions on the ground outside because it is a hassle to carry out small portions of the crop one at a time whenever they have to eat outside. His rabbit friends agree with him, and they have already prepared ahead of time for this. The shovel rabbit and the watering can rabbit are ready to work, while the cart rabbit has the cut stems of spring onions in his cart. Sejun tells them that, for some reason, he feels like he needs to increase the yield of his spring onions, and doing that is not that difficult either. While ox number 3 shows off his muscles to Kyung, who is the son of the monster who was his archenemy just now, Sejun is in the foreground, planting spring onion stems in freshly cultivated soil. He knows that all they have to do to increase the area under the spring onion is harvest moderately grown spring onion leaves, leaving only the portion close to the roots. Soon, the roots of the spring onion will split, and new plants will grow from the cut portion. After that, all that is left is to separate the new growth from the original plant and replant it. He thinks that the new roots he has now are quite healthy. By expanding his field by 200 units of a Korean land area measurement unit, Sejun gets 200 XP. The field expansion is complete, and Sejun is really happy that it was much easier than he thought it would be. As he holds the last root of the unplanted spring onion in his hand, he thinks that spring onions grow really fast inside the tower. He thinks that if they exploit this feature well, they can expand their outdoor field many times its original size in no time. They just need to cut the onions close to the base, and each time they split, they should plant them on new land. However, there is one more problem Sejun needs to solve now. He sees his rabbit friends watering the freshly planted spring onions with their watering cans. Suddenly, the water coming from Father Rabbit's watering can stops, and he smacks it so that it will start working again. It is neither an old remote nor your child that will start working by doing that. Sejun approaches him with unsolicited advice and says that there is a limited amount of water in the watering can. Even though it seems like too much, it eventually ends, and they cannot water the entire field with just that. He thinks that this will be a more serious problem if the field expands while the two rabbits are confused about what to do. Then suddenly, Sejun notices light coming out of the father rabbit's body, signaling that he is about to evolve. The father rabbit also seems pleasantly surprised about this change, and his watering can suddenly turn golden as he evolves. He is really happy, and Sejun shares his enthusiasm. He congratulates the father rabbit on evolving, even though it was a bit later than his son, the black warrior rabbit. He thinks that because he used his watering can to its limit many times recently, he unlocked its golden skin. The timing is also perfect because if the amount of water increases after the evolution, it will help with field irrigation. Sejun asks the father rabbit if the capacity has increased, and the father rabbit signals him that the water holding capacity of the can has increased by 2 times. Sejun exclaims on hearing this and declares that they don't have to worry about expanding the field now, with the rabbits joining him. Meanwhile, the boss of the 99th floor, the leader of the Minotaurs, is getting impatient because ox number 3 has not yet returned from the mission he has been sent to. Soon, it will be another new experience for Sejun, as it is the first time he is taking the baby rabbits out of the cave. He has carried them outside in his backpack, and as he takes them out, they begin exploring the area. Hyung and Theo are in front of them, and Sejun introduces the baby rabbits to the baby bear, whom they have never seen before. Hyung is happy to meet the rabbits, who are curious and approach him. He licks one of them, and the rabbits try to run away because they are startled. After they have gained some distance and fallen to the ground in their haste, they realize that the bear is not dangerous, and they all jump on him. Hyung laughs and rolls on his back as the rabbits are on his belly. Sejun is pleased that the bear cub can look after the baby rabbits well, but Theo is not happy that he is not getting any attention from his rabbit niece and nephews. He scoffs, saying that Hyung has met the rabbits just today, but he is already their uncle. He asks the baby rabbits to come with him so that their uncle can take them on an adventure outside the cave. However, not even a single rabbit leaves the comfiness of the Crimson Bear. They are having fun with him, and Theo is devastated. He breaks down as he says that the babies forgot their uncle and terms this as the top betrayal in history. Sejin just remarks that kids grow fast, and Theo throws a tantrum as he says that they abandoned him after all the things he went through to raise them. Sejin picks up the sad cat and tells him to not be so sad. He puts Theo on his lap as he tells him to sit here comfortably and eat some churro. Theo accepts his offer, and then Sejin asks him if it isn't almost time for him to go down to the lower floors for his trade trip. The cat merchant sighs as he says that he wants to go down too but can't do that. Sejin asks him to elaborate, and Theo nervously narrates the incident with the Silver Wolf mercenaries while cueing plays with the rabbits. Sejin is shocked to learn that a bunch of wolves were looking for this straw hat. Theo apologizes, saying that he can't go down because things have become quite troublesome for him. Sejin realizes that the straw hat is quite special and its effects are great, but it is still an unnecessary item for anyone who is not a farmer. He wonders who would try to steal it and ponders if there are tower farmers on other floors too. As he puts the straw hat back on his head, Sejin confidently smiles and tells Theo that he doesn't need to worry about that anymore because he has a way to solve his problem. Theo is shocked to hear that Sejin has a solution and asks him what he can do from this remote floor. He asks Sejin to tell him about his idea, and Sejin tells him to hire some bodyguards for his protection. He suggests that he can hire Ox number 3 as a free mercenary to guard him, and Theo is amazed by the idea that never crossed his mind before. A free mercenary was another job class inside the tower, just like wandering merchants. Only those who are born within the tower can have this job class, and most often, tough creatures like crocodiles, wolves, and dogs choose this line of work. Through an agreement between the Free Mercenary Association and the Wandering Merchant Association, the free mercenaries are also allowed to use the merchant passageway at any time by paying the toll. Moreover, if a wandering merchant makes a request, even those who are not registered as free mercenaries can be temporarily hired, and they will also get the right to cross the passageway, and that is what Sejin wants Theo and Ox number 3 to do. Sejin tells Theo that he would love to go down the tower as a free mercenary too, but just like wandering merchants, this job class was exclusive to only those who were born within the tower. Theo is impressed that he remembered this bit, and then he turns to the more important question and asks Sejin if Ox number 3 will be ready to act as a free mercenary. He is not certain that he will be up for the task because, even with his great power, he is just a monster from the 99th floor. Sejin had also considered this possibility, and that is why he has another idea for that. Sejin declares that if Ox number 3 decides to accompany Theo to the lower floors as his bodyguard, he is going to pay him 3 tower coins, which is 3 times his daily pay. Theo is greatly impressed by his idea and takes off Sejin's hat to pat his head. He calls him the genius chairman and says that he could never have thought of such a brilliant idea. Sejin tries to act modest, saying that Theo can also do this with experience. He puts his hat back on as he takes out a packet of churro and asks him if he wants to eat it now. Needless to say, Theo is excited for his snack time in Sejin's lap. As he eats the churro, Theo thinks that one day he will take this situation as an example and use it himself too. On the other hand, Ox number 3 is at his home, and he nervously looks around before leaving for work. However, his girlfriend catches him leaving and asks him where he is going. Ox number 3 is startled, and his girlfriend angrily complains that she has been looking for him for 3 days since he was not anywhere nearby. I am not a biology expert, but I can say that a cow's milk udders are not where they are with this one. As the minotaur named Ox or cow number 4 walks towards her boyfriend, he is terrified. He nervously tells her that it is nothing and tries to shoo her away, but this makes her even more suspicious. Cow number 4 takes a good look at his face, which looks more healthy and full, and she deduces that he has been eating somewhere secretly. Ox number 3 is speechless and nervous, and then his girlfriend starts shaking him, telling him to take her where there is food. He tries to tell her that it is just all in her head, but cow number 4 is not to be gaslighted so easily, and she tells him that if he doesn't tell her the truth, she will tell everything to the commander who has been looking for him. She claims that everyone will know that Ox number 3 has been eating something in secret, and then he will be punished. He is terrified of her threat and gives up, letting his girlfriend celebrate that she won another battle against him. Ox number 3 leads her while telling her to be quiet because the place he is taking her is a secret. She promises to stay silent after hearing this. Soon, they reach Sejun's cave, where he comes out using the manual elevator and is stunned to see another minotaur outside his house. Theo is also surprised, and while ox number 3 is nervous about his partner, cow number 4 is just curious. Sejun comes out of the cave and asks ox number 3 if he brought a friend, and the cow introduces herself before telling Sejun that her boyfriend told her they could get grass if they dug up the ground. Ox number 3 nervously asks Sejun if he can let his girlfriend work here too, saying that if she is not given food, she will be in big trouble. Sejun can only stare at him with mild disappointment. He thinks for a bit and then says that plowing the field is not a top priority now, so he doesn't need more workers to do that. He then gets an idea and tells cow number 4 that he will hire her, but for another job. She is eager to hear him out, and Sejun tells her that the wandering merchant cat Theo is being threatened by a bunch of wolves right now. Theo also smiles as he says things are troublesome, and then Sejun continues his explanation. He tells the cow that if she agrees to become Theo's bodyguard as a free mercenary, he is going to give her 3 tower coins per trip, which is 3 times more than her boyfriend's daily wage. He asks her what she thinks, and cow number 3 directly tells him that she does not want that. Sejun is taken aback and asks her if she doesn't want to work, but the cow tells him that she can't eat tower coins. Sejun realizes that he took the wrong approach, and he immediately corrects his offer, telling the cow that she will get 3 meals a day plus snacks if she takes up the job. She doesn't hesitate, even for a bit, and says that she is ready to leave the job right away. Even ox number 3 is willing to become a free mercenary for food, and Sejun realizes that they are both crazy for food. He agrees with letting both of them serve as Theo's bodyguards because that would be more reliable. Sejun tells them that he will also pack up some food so that they can eat while they are traveling too, much to their delight. Cow number 4 hugs her boyfriend, saying that she is really happy that he introduced her to such a good place, and he blushes as he says that he is also happy working with her. Seeing them get cozy with each other makes Sejun feel jealous because he has never had a girlfriend his entire life. Soon after that, Sejun gets busy working and harvests green onion leaves from his outdoor field. The field is vast, and therefore the amount of leaves he has harvested is great too. However, as he stares at the pile of leaves with the parent rabbits by his side, he wonders if this will be enough to feed the 2 minotaurs. Just then, Theo comes there and asks Sejun if he should take all the grass with him, and he asks him if this will fit in his bundle. Sejun is concerned that Theo won't have space to carry the cherry tomatoes if he takes this much grass, but he assures him that there is no need to worry. Theo unfurls his bag and throws it over the pile of leaves. The bag magically sucks all the green onion leaves inside and falls into Theo's hand as Sejun exclaims that the bag seems to fit more stuff than usual this time. Theo smugly tells him that it is because now he is a mid-level wandering merchant. He shows off his badge to Sejun, telling him that when he got promoted to a mid-level merchant, the capacity of his bundle also increased. Sejun is curious about this and takes a good look at Theo's badge and realizes that its color is different than before. Theo complains like a tsundere girlfriend, calling Sejun tactless for noticing it just now. Sejun pulls his cheeks as he tells him to stop wasting time and get ready quickly for his sales trip. After that, he tells the cat that this time he has a present for his family that he wants to send them and asks him if he knows what to do. Theo is not really in the mood to reply because he is still upset about his cheeks being pulled. Then he smugly tells Sejun that he has it and tells him to leave things to him. Soon after that, he leaves with the 2 minotaurs flanking him on both sides to guard him from unseen threats. Sejun tells them to take care, and he asks the 2 minotaurs to protect Theo well. He watches them go, with his best bud, the black rabbit sitting on his shoulder and the other rabbits standing on the ground. Sejun thinks out loud, asking himself if the minotaurs won't try eating Theo after finishing all the onion leaves, and the black rabbit is terrified of his pessimistic thought process. Meanwhile, in the beautiful passageway village, which is the living area for wandering merchants inside a cave in a giant tree, the wolf mercenaries are waiting for Theo. One of them brings food for the group, and their captain, Elka, tells him that he did a great job. He asks him about the money they have left, and the wolf tells him that they are almost out of money. The third wolf, Elko, is upset and whiny, and he refuses to eat as Elka offers him food. He is feeling sad and homesick and asks the captain how long they have to stay in this place. He complains that he is tired of staying here and watching people pass by, and now he wants to return to their home on the 85th floor. This makes Captain Elka furious, and he shouts at Elko, telling him to stop saying nonsense. He asks him to think about their tribe members on the 85th floor who are waiting for them to succeed in the mission while they starve. He says that if they cannot complete this mission, They won't be able to receive their food rations from the landlord grid, and the survival of their tribe depends on them now. Elka is determined to succeed in this mission, and Elko cries while apologizing to him. He admits that he was wrong and asks the captain to not be angry with him. Elka sighs and lets go of his anger, and then tells the whining wolf to eat something even though he is not feeling like it. The second wolf also comforts Elko, telling him that this is the precious food they bought from the money that their tribe gathered for this mission, and they must use it well to remain strong. He offers the food to Elka too, but just as he takes it, the captain notices something and immediately gets ready for chase. He has smelled Theo before he can see him, and just as he confirms his presence, he swears that this time he will make sure to obtain information about the straw hat from him at all costs. Unaware of the dangers waiting for him, Theo is casually strolling through the passage village, but there is something else that has attracted everyone's attention. The two giant minotaurs are exotic races for all of them, and the merchants stare at them in awe. They exclaim that they could have never seen black minotaurs in their lives because they were from the 99th floor, which might as well be on another planet. The merchants are really excited to meet the wandering merchant who hired them as free mercenaries. They believe that he must be the Elon Musk of the wandering merchants, but they are in for a surprise as Theo is standing right in front of them and asking them if they are talking about him. The two doggy merchants look at him with surprise and wonder what the deal is with the overconfident-looking wandering cat merchant standing in front of them. Theo declares loudly that he is the magnificent wandering merchant who has hired the minotaurs as free mercenaries, almost acting like a mad villain. As he laughs maniacally, the other two merchants ask him if he really is the employer because he doesn't look like it. They claim that they are hearing the name Theo for the first time, and they tell him that he shouldn't lie to them just for some fake hype. Theo is furious at this and decides to show off his authority by summoning the minotaurs to his side. However, as he turns around to see them, all he finds is a vacant lot. Theo is embarrassed and also panics because losing his bodyguards like this is a big deal, and he wonders where the two food-oriented muscleheads went. They are actually running around, exploring the food options in the market, as everyone should have guessed. Cow 4 points towards the cabbages on sale and tells her boyfriend that it was quite an odd-shaped grass, while the poor rodent merchant selling them is afraid for his life. The poor guy is shivering and crying as he sees the two giant minotaurs, who don't even realize his dilemma. Cow number 4 asks him if he sells this grass, while ox number 4 remarks that it looks delicious. The poor rodent merchant can only beg for them to spare his life, as he squeaks. He would have given his products to the two minotaurs for free out of fear if Theo had not arrived there just in time. Theo is fuming as he walks towards the two minotaurs and calls out to them, saying that he has been looking for them everywhere. He lashes out at them, saying that they have been hired as mercenaries and that they should do their job properly by protecting him. He asks them what the hell are they doing here, and ox number 3 nervously apologizes, saying that they got sidetracked because things here were so interesting. Even Theo is a bit taken aback as he hears this and asks them if this is their first time coming to the passage village, and the ox affirms, saying that they have never left the 99th floor before this, so it is indeed their first time outside. Then ox number 3 asks Theo why this place is called the Merchant Passage, because he has heard that everyone born in the tower has the right to access the tower's passage. He feels it is excessive to call it the Merchant Passage when they are not the only ones who use it. Theo laughs at his question and calls the Minotaur a country bumpkin from the 99th floor if he doesn't know this, and ox number 3 considers that statement racist. Theo wants to show off his knowledge, but any show-off is incomplete until others are looking up at him. So he spots a carriage nearby and jumps atop it to begin his lecture about the history of the Tower Passage. He tells the confused Minotaur couple that the mid-level wandering merchant Theo will now kindly explain some important things to them. He starts the story, which takes place a long time ago, much before the tower was as organized as it is now. He claims that in the earliest days, all the passageways of the tower were arbitrarily stretched out like the branches of a tree, going from the first floor to the 99th floor. That wasn't a good thing at all, because living in the tower was like playing a real-life version of snakes and ladders at that time. There were too many passages. No one knew which one led them where, and on top of that, no one knew which passages were safe and which ones had dangers in them. At that time, a group of brave hearts assembled and decided to sort things out. They were the first wandering merchants of the tower who joined forces to organize the passages. They took care of the dangerous pathways and reinforced the safe ones to be used by others. The merchants were assisted by the two other forces in the tower, namely, the Free Mercenary Association and the Magic Tower. They entered into an agreement with each other to develop and manage the passages, with the mercenaries and magic users providing the manpower, while merchants provided resources to run the passages. However, since the management rights went to the Wandering Merchant Association, the passages were called merchant passageways. Theo's lecture impresses Ox number 3 and his girlfriend, who clap for him, saying that he is quite well informed, and the cat basks in the glory. Theo confidently says that this much is the basic knowledge for a mid-level wandering merchant, when it was something even simpler than that. This information was given on the first page of the Guide to Beginner Wandering Merchants, and Theo has that evil grin on his face as he thanks himself for reading it beforehand. He then continues his lecture, saying that while all residents of the tower can access the passages, there are also premium passages that are hidden behind the paywall. He claims that these paid pathways can only be used by merchants, and they act like shortcuts to their destination. As Ox number 3 holds out his hand for Theo to jump into it, he asks him to elaborate about the paid passages. Theo jumps onto his palm, saying that it is just as the name suggests. Only merchants and those who can pay can use it, and right now, they are able to cross it because of him. He explains that if they go through a normal route, it will take a long time to reach their destination. Also, the passage village was the center of the area where all the paid passageways are concentrated. Theo climbs down from the Minotaur's hand, declaring that they have to go to the 38th floor, so they will use the paid passageway that takes them down quickly to the 40th floor, and from there they will transfer to the regular passageway. Ox number 3 says that this way appears to be too complicated, and Theo agrees. That is why, before they start the second leg of their journey downwards, they must eat something. The two Minotaurs are more excited than him to take their lunch break and even start drooling as they follow Theo to his favorite fish restaurant. However, as he turns around to ask the Minotaurs what they like, the leader of the wolf mercenaries, Elka, pounces on him, ready to end his game. Theo realizes the danger when he is too close to him and freaks out as the big bad wolf makes its landing right next to him. Elka stares at him menacingly, saying that he finally found the wandering cat merchant. Theo is trembling from fear as he recalls the wolf mercenary who attacked him before. The wolf asks him to tell him where he got the straw hat from, totally unaware that something massive, fast, and heavy is coming towards him. He was lucky that the black minotaur missed his punch on purpose, because otherwise it would be his skull that would be crushed instead of the ground. Elka backs away, still ready to fight, as he wonders what the hell a minotaur is doing here. Ox number 3 asks him who he is, and Theo screams that he is the wolf who attacked him before. He explains that he is the leader of the gang that has been chasing after him, and the black minotaur is ready to deal with him right away. He steps forward, saying that they should get rid of him, but just then, the other two wolves jump in on the action to support their captain. They are aiming at Ox number 3, but they don't know that his girl has got his back. Cow number 4 quickly covers for her boyfriend, punches the two wolves, and sends them flying. Their leader, Elka, is worried about them, while cow number 4 says that she didn't know there were two more of the cute puppies. She tells her man to keep protecting Theo while she takes care of the wolves, and he leaves all of the fighting to her. Theo is uncertain about her fighting abilities and asks Ox number 4 if his girl will be fine on her own, but he replies that they are the minotaurs of the 99th floor, and such little dogs are no match to their power. Then he blushes as he hypes up his girl, saying that she is even stronger than him, and Theo doesn't really get what is happening. He still yells at cow number 4 to not kill the wolves, but she replies that she can't promise anything yet because she doesn't know how weak her opponents are. She walks towards the three wolves, who are getting up and regrouping. Elka asks the other two if they are fine, and they reply that they are still okay. They ask him what they should do now, and Elka replies that they cannot back away now. He is serious about getting Theo and claims that if they fail to capture him here, they won't have any other chances. He takes the lead and tells his subordinates to get ready to fight because they will need to combine their strength to defeat the big monster in front of them. Meanwhile, on the 99th floor, something entirely different is happening. The sickle rabbit is using her immaculate skills with her tool to groom everyone. She finishes giving her chunky brother a haircut, and Sejun claps for her, saying that her skills are extraordinary. She has trimmed the fur of the black warrior rabbit before the fat boy, and both of them are pleased now. Next up is Sejun's turn to get a fresh fade, and he claims that he is getting too uncomfortable because of his long hair. His hair has been coming down to his eyes and causing him a lot of problems, so he just needs the sickle rabbit to cut down the length a bit. He wears a cloth made of the same old green onion leaves while the sickle rabbit climbs on a stone to reach his level, and Queuing watches them from behind. The bear cub tries to tell the sickle rabbit something, but his warm, moist breath tickles her, and she prepares to launch a devastating sneeze by rabbit standards. Unfortunately for Sejun, she still had her sickle in hand while she sneezed and managed to slice off a patch of hair from his head. That kind of reminds me of that one Mr. Bean episode. It may be funny to us, but the sickle rabbit and Queuing are absolutely mortified to see what they have done. Poor Sejun has no idea what has happened, and he is still looking forward to getting a haircut. 3 Silver Wolf mercenaries, who are ready to face the challenge in front of them in the form of cow number 4. Despite knowing that they are not strong enough, they rush towards her. Their leader, Elka, takes the lead and leaps high in the air to attack cow number 4 from above. She gets ready to punch him into oblivion, but that was what the wolves were banking on. Their plan involved letting her loosen her defenses as she got on the offense, and a second wolf came to her side, shocking her. The third one also rushes towards her foot from the other side, and cow number 4 realizes that she is surrounded. 2 of the wolves bite her arm and leg, while Elka prepares to deal the finishing blow. He holds her horn and yanks her head to the side, exposing her neck. He quickly swings behind her and uses all of his jaw strength to bite down on her neck. Cow number 4 stands incredibly still as the 3 wolves bite her, because they were not doing any damage to her. Elka realizes that his sharp fangs weren't able to cut through the Minotaur's tough skin, and he wonders what the hell is happening here. Cow number 4 asks him if he is surprised before rubbing salt on his wounds, telling him that a Minotaur's skin can't be pierced through so easily. Then she gets on the offensive and smacks the wolf biting her arm with what looks like her milkers, I suppose. I guess she punishes her boyfriend like that too when he makes a mistake. In any case, the Minotaur milker slap is too powerful for the silver wolf, who bleeds from his nose as he is flung away. Cow number 4 grabs him and then eats him away towards the wooden staircase. The wolf who was biting on her feet till now loosens his grip as he sees a comrade getting injured. But that was a serious mistake because a kick from cow number 4 was waiting for him. He also gets flung away, and now only Elka is left on the Minotaur's shoulder. He realizes that there is no chance for them to win as his friends got taken down with a single hit. However, he is determined to not let her go, but that doesn't happen since cow number 4 yanks him away from her shoulder and slams him into the ground. Elka takes some damage and then looks pitiful as cow number 4 readies to finish him. As her heavy punch comes right towards his face, he screams no in his mind, and then his memories suddenly drift to his childhood. His grandfather was once the wise and respected leader of the tribe of Silver Wolves. He used to often tell him stories about how they were the pure-blooded Silver Wolves. When they die and become spirits, they turn into guardian spirits that protect the living members of the tribe. Their tribe was stronger than those of other wolves, and they also had the ability to grow their skills to track and hunt prey. They could inherit the will of their ancestors, and that made them proud silver wolves. Elka's grandfather used to tell him that their honor is the honor of the ancestors, and they must behave properly and live proudly, so that they do not ruin the honor of the ancestors who guided them. His grandfather told him that by living their lives honorably, they would arrive at an answer to their life's purpose one day. At that time, little Elka was really excited to hear those stories and promised his grandfather that he would live for the honor of his ancestors. However, instead of finding an answer about his life's purpose, all the young wolf found was a long-lasting famine that dried up all their food sources. One day, he found a fish in the remains of a pond and brought it back home, where the adults were on their edge because of the famine. There was nothing to eat, and Western tribes were even pillaging and slaughtering one another for food. The fire of their pillaging soon came to Elka's village too. The attackers burned their village and killed everyone who could not escape, and Elka could only get carried away by his parents as he saw his grandfather sacrificing his life to save them. Years later, he became the new chieftain himself and led his tribe through the wasteland. One day, his tribesmen asked him if it was true that he had started to work under the landlord grid. They asked him if he was not embarrassed to trample on the honor of their ancestors by doing that. Not only was he serving someone, he was serving the lowly boar, who was the one who caused all this in the first place. Elka commanded them to shut up, saying that they had no other way to survive. Even living for one more day was no less than a miracle, and he wanted to do everything he could to save the children. He was determined to sacrifice his honor and everything along with it for the sake of his tribe's children. I'm not crying. The onion-cutting ninjas are in my room. Elka thought that his ancestors would understand his reasons, even as he served a fat, greedy pig landlord and did his dirty deeds. On the command of Grid, he harassed and extorted money from ordinary creatures and killed those who failed to pay. As he waits for the Minotaur's punch to finish him, Elka only wants to know if his grandfather understands him. Lucky for him, cow number 4 was not as heartless as she let on and had spared his life. She hit the area next to his head, but Elka was already knocked out cold because of the mental and emotional stress. He keeps saying that he would do all things for the sake of children, as Theo comes to check up on him. Theo checks the wolf and wonders if he really passed out, and cow number 4 suggests an idea to deal with him for good. She wants to break his legs so that he cannot follow them around anymore, and Theo panics on hearing that. He acts vain and kind at the same time, saying that even though the sin of going after his life is too great, breaking the wolf's legs is too cruel. He commands the 2 minotaurs to take the wolves away for now, because it should be Sejun who makes the decision about them. The minotaurs obey his order and pick up the 3 unconscious wolves. Meanwhile, something interesting is going on with Sejun in his cave. He was getting a haircut in the last chapter, and to say the least, it started horribly. Now he has a blind spot on the back of his head that shines like a diamond, and Queuing and the sickle rabbit, who are responsible for this, are sweating buckets. They discuss amongst themselves and wonder what to do, but Sejun asks them why it is taking so long. He checks his hair, asking them if the haircut is complete, and the 2 culprits realize they are so screwed now. Sejun soon finds the bald spot on his head, and he freaks out, while Queuing and Sickle Rabbit wonder what to do now. The queen poison bee also comes there and takes a look at Sejun's bald spot, which is not visible to him. He thinks that if he knew something like this would happen, he would have asked Theo to get him a mirror. The sickle rabbit sincerely apologizes for being a bad barber, but Sejun tells her that it is okay since everyone makes mistakes. He tries to calm her by saying that no one will even notice it, since he is the only human here and everyone else is a monster. He laughs as he puts his straw hat on, saying that if he uses this, no one can even see it. He keeps on laughing as he says that it is fine, but then goes to sulk in the corner because it is not fine after all. As Sejun is sitting in a corner, the mother rabbit comes there and asks her daughter and Queuing what is happening. On learning that the sickle rabbit messed up Sejun's hair, she gets furious at her, and through his tears, Sejun tells her that he is fine. The mother rabbit can see that he is not fine, so she volunteers to fix the mess caused by her daughter. She tells Sejun to sit down for a haircut again and takes out a pair of sharp scissors from her 4th dimension pocket. On the other hand, our favorite tower manager, Aileen, is reading a book while snacking on cherry tomatoes. She says that reading is fun, but then notices that she is out of cherry tomatoes already, which is not fun at all. Ever since Aileen got bigger, the amount of food she used to get from Sejun has become too little for her now. She can't satisfy her hunger like this, but she can't even risk asking Sejun for more food. Aileen remembers how he misunderstood her last time and asked her if she was a winged pig, and she doesn't want to take that chance again because she is still irritated by it. However, her hunger wins over her fear of embarrassment, and she calls Sejun to give her a snack. However, she sees something in her magic crystal that surprises her. She asks Sejun what happened, and he looks back at her message while being shrouded in an air of mystery. Sejun takes off his hat to reveal his new hairstyle to Aileen. He explains that his hair were getting too long, so the mother rabbit cut it off for him, but he deliberately hides the part about the bald spot. Sejun is feeling a bit awkward about his new haircut, and he asks Aileen if she also thinks the same. Well, judging by how dashing he looks, it might be possible that he just wants Aileen to praise him. Her reactions when she sees him in a new haircut are really animated, and she freaks out in silence for a while. Sejun wonders why is she not answering him for so long, and once again asks her what she thinks about his new hairstyle as he moves his hand in front of the message window. Inside her office, Aileen is blushing like crazy and sweating a lot as she stares at the handsome face of Sejun. She is like a teenager meeting her celebrity crush for the first time, and lets out a scream as Sejun moves closer to the message window, and she sees his face more clearly. She tells him not to come closer to her, and Sejun only wonders if anything is wrong with her. Aileen replies that it is nothing, before saying that she couldn't take her eyes off him for a second. After blurting out her honest feelings, Aileen quickly moves to the reason she contacted him in the first place. She wants food, specifically the crayfish he gave her the other day. Sejun puts his hat back as he sighs, saying, what else could the gluttonous manager contact him for? He tells her that she might have to eat her protein a bit slowly for some time. The crayfish population has been slowly decreasing, and it has fallen to 1/3 of what it used to be. Also, the piranhas are not showing their faces because of the crayfish, and Sejun is at a loss. He complains that he feels empty these days because he is eating only vegetables. Maybe if he had been wiser and more judicious about hunting the fish, it would have been better for him. Sejun then tells Aileen that it feels good to nurture one's body with different types of food and decides to give her some corn instead of meat right now. She asks her if she will be fine with tomatoes and corn, and then remarks that she might have run out of dried sweet potatoes too. Sejun gives a big basket to her, and Aileen thanks him before hesitating to give him another message. Sejun waits for her to finish her sentence, and then Aileen tells him that the new hairstyle suits him. With that, the message window in front of him vanishes, and Sejun has a smug smile on his face as he says that it seems that the stingy tower manager knows to give out compliments as well. However, now that he has dealt with her, he decides to get back to work again. Meanwhile, Aileen is in her cabin, and she is trembling as she holds the basket of corn. She is still red from embarrassment about seeing Sejun earlier. Her chest beats like crazy, even though her heart is supposed to be inactive because of her disease. Aileen wonders what is happening with her, and her best guess is that it is another anomaly in her dragon heart because she doesn't know that it is actually her first love. She shakes away all the thoughts and speculations from her mind as she claims that she was just taken aback to see Sejun in a new look so suddenly. She decides to forget about it all and focuses on eating the food. However, that also reminds her of her love, Sejun, and how he said it would be good to nurture one's body with different kinds of food. Aileen immediately reaches out to her library and searches for a book. She soon finds the Great Cookbook, and smiles to herself as she thinks that she is going to do something special for Sejun. She starts blushing again as she thinks about him, and hides her face behind the book. On the other hand, Theo has finally reached the 38th floor to do business with humans. As soon as he declares his arrival, the human hunters flock towards him. They seem to be even more fired up today, and asks Theo how many tomatoes he has today. They say that a lot of people need the tomatoes right now, and Theo asks them why they are in such a hurry. He then breaks out the good news to them as he carries out a basket from his bundle. He declares that this time, he has a total of 36 cherry tomatoes, which will be sold in batches of 400 each. This is news for the hunters, and a rather shocking one too. They can't believe that Theo has so many cherry tomatoes at once, but it works in their favor. The bidding starts, and the price of each batch of 400 cherry tomatoes reaches up to 200 tower coins before Theo closes the deal. One by one, he sells 4 batches of the cherry tomatoes, and now 2,000 more units are remaining. As Theo is about to proceed with the auction, a man steps up to him and tells him that there is no need for that. He volunteers to buy all of the 2,000 magical cherry tomatoes for 16 tower coins. The man is the subordinate of Michael, the Gaggle Food Company's vice chairman, who sent him here to buy all the D-rank cherry tomatoes he could find. The man looks at other hunters and taunts them, asking if there is anyone who wants to enter a bidding war with the Gaggle Company. Obviously, no one has either money or guts to do that, and Theo sells the rest of his product to the subordinates of Michael. Meanwhile, the rest of the hunters worry about the scarcity of cherry tomatoes in the outside world and complain that it is unfair for a large corporation like Gaggle to monopolize the entire market. Kim Dongshik, the leader of the Phoenix Guild, also agrees with them and thinks that ordinary hunters like them can't manage to buy anything at this rate. His teammates panicked because they wanted the magical cherry tomatoes badly. One of them had even staked his marriage on the chance of impressing his future in-laws with magical cherry tomatoes. As everyone panics, Dongshik is relatively calm because he is personally acquainted with Theo. He also knows about Sejun and thinks that it is easy for him to make a direct connection with him. However, he is in for the shock of a lifetime, as one of the hunters who purchased the cherry tomatoes noticed something new. It was an employee of Gaggle who found out that the information window of the cherry tomato was displaying something new. The name of the cultivator, which was previously hidden, is now shown. Everyone is excited to learn this, and they think that the name of the cultivator sounds Korean. As one of them speaks it out loud, revealing Tower Farmer Park Sejun as the cultivator of the crops, Dongshik can't believe his ears. He snatches a tomato out of one man's hand and says he will return it after taking a look at it. He finds that the information window of the tomato has really been modified, and the name of Sejun is on the bottom as the cultivator of the crop. More than anything else, Dongshik is shocked to learn that Sejun was actually a tower farmer. The revelation of the cultivator's identity creates an uproar among the Gaggle employees. Their leader tells everyone to head back to the earth as fast as they can and find out about the man called Park Sejun. He commands them to mobilize all the manpower they have to ensure that he comes over to their side. The leader of the mission starts laughing like a madman, saying that since he found out about such a vital piece of information, he will certainly be given due credit by Michael. He even thinks that he has secured a promotion for himself with this discovery. However, Dongshik is in panic mode because the connection he has with Sejun has become less valuable. But even more pressing than that is the issue of Sejun's family's safety. Dongshik thinks that the family is in danger because, for the rich, the magical cherry tomatoes are the most valuable thing right now, and they won't stop at anything to get their hands on them. He fears that since they cannot get to Sejin directly, there is a high possibility that those people will try to blackmail him by kidnapping his family so that they can monopolize the supply. Dongshik thinks that according to what he already knows, Sejin has never left the tower because of a quest, and he cannot reach to help his family. He also realizes that Sejin won't know about the situation outside the tower since he has no contacts, and he won't have any idea how dangerous things have suddenly become for his family. Just then, Theo reaches Dongshik to talk about their usual business, and without wasting a moment, Dongshik picks him up and runs away to an isolated spot. Theo is confused and asks him what is wrong, and after confirming that they are alone, Dongshik asks him what the deal is with the cultivator's name in the information window. He asks why the name, which was previously censored, is suddenly visible to all. Theo replies that it is because he became a mid-level wandering merchant and shows off his batch too. He explains that to protect the suppliers and producers of newbie merchants, their names are hidden, but that feature is taken back when they are promoted. He asks Dongshik what is wrong, only to learn that Sejin's family might be in danger. Theo freaks out on hearing this and wonders what is happening, so Dongshik explains the situation outside the tower to him. He claims that in the real world, everyone is in an uproar because of the magical cherry tomatoes. Till today, everything was fine because the name of the cultivator was hidden. But now that it is revealed, things are different. Dongshik claims that there are many people who won't hesitate to do bad things to get a monopoly over the magical cherry tomatoes, and the easiest way to do this was to target Sejin's family. Theo's jaw drops on hearing this, and he panics as he wonders if all this is his fault. He asks Dongshik if it is because he became a mid-level merchant, and asks what he should do now. He fears that Sejin will be angry at him, but Dongshik tells him to calm down. He promises that he will save Sejin's family at all costs, even if he needs to put the honor of the Phoenix Guild on line for that. Theo thanks him, and Dongshik says that he will quickly return to the lower floors of the tower now. Before he goes, Theo has another favor to ask of him. He takes out 2 baskets from his bundle, saying that they are gifts for Sejin's family. The baskets contain carrots of agility and corn of stamina, and Dongshik can't believe his eyes as he reads their information window. Theo tells him that the reward for completing the favor is the same as the last time, which is 200 magical cherry tomatoes. Dongshik is amazed to see this and remarks that if the world finds out about these crops, it will be a riot. However, he doesn't tell Theo everything and asks him not to worry about anything. Dongshik asks the cat merchant to relay his message to Sejin, telling him that he will deliver everything to his family safely. With that, Theo leaves the 38th floor, and Dongshik thinks that things are getting out of control, and he must inform his master about this. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the 38th floor's passageway, the Minotaur couple and the Silver Wolf mercenaries are waiting for Theo. While the Minotaurs munch on grass, the leader of the wolves, Elka, lashes out at them. He calls them small-headed idiots and asks if they have no pride. He asks them how they can be working under a lowly wandering merchant cat and obey him without complaint. He insults them, saying that the legends about the monsters on the 99th floor were fake after all. Cow number 4 is getting irritated because of his rambling and asks her boyfriend if she should hit Elka's head one more time. He tells her that the poor wolf will die if she does that. Just then, Theo comes running to them and tells them that they have to immediately return to the 99th floor because it is an emergency. Ox number 4 asks him what's up, and Theo says that he will explain everything along the way. The Minotaurs pick up the wolves, who continue to curse them as they demand to be freed. However, before they can depart, Sejin tells the Minotaurs to wait for a bit since he has spotted something in a stall. He goes to a stall run by a raccoon merchant and asks him for the price of a necklace with a violet gemstone. The merchant tells him that it is worth 2 tower coins, but Theo is planning to use his ultimate bargaining technique and asks the poor merchant for a discount while the 2 Minotaurs look over him. Meanwhile, Dongshik thought that he cannot handle the matter alone and must seek the help of his master. Dongshik goes to the headquarters of the Awakeners Association in Korea and enters a room that is much below room temperature. Even though he is wearing enough clothes to survive on the North Pole, he is still shivering as he reveals details about Sejin to his boss. Dongshik says that Park Sejin is said to have entered the tower through the vanishing a few months ago, and he quickly rose to level 40 in no time. The man to whom he is revealing this is his master, who reads the detailed report. He says that the precise location of Sejin is not yet known, but he is famous for his magic cherry tomatoes that are sold by a wandering merchant cat. The master is an old man named Han Tae-jun, sitting in the ice-cold room in just a t-shirt and shorts while blasting the AC and fan at full power. He was once the guild master of the Phoenix Guild, but now he has become a member of the Awakened Society of Korea. Dongshik asks Tae-jun if his body is holding up well, and the old man is silent for a while. However, then he repeats his question sarcastically and immediately turns into Endeavor from My Hero Academia. He is enraged that Dongshik thinks he will be fine when so many bad things are happening. Tae-jun's hair become fire, as he says that Dongshik kept the identity of a great talent hidden from him when he had even cleared the 40th floor. On top of that, Tae-jun has to stay locked up in this ice-cold room and do nothing except sucking his fingers because of his powers. He asks Dongshik if anyone will be okay in this condition, and he takes off his hood as he tells his master that he is acting rashly. He asks Tae-jun that didn't he also go to the 52nd floor of the tower unofficially, but the old man is having none of his crap. He asks Dongshik not to put those two things together and then demands to know if he is hiding something else from him. As Dongshik says that everything is just as reported, Tae-jun calms down a bit, but the report has already become ash by now. Dongshik then adds that the job of the tower farmer is a new one that has never been seen in the history of the tower. Tae-jun is not interested in hearing more about boring things, so he sits down. Suddenly, burn marks appear all over his arms because of his power, and Dongshik remarks that the curse of the flame is spreading further. The tough old man laughs it off, saying that it is nothing more than ticklish. However, the truth is that his curse has kept him locked up in this room when he would be heading into the tower instead. After that, Tae-jun asks Dongshik what he is here for, because this meeting could have been an email, and he would not have come all the way here to see his master struggle. Dongshik replies that he is here to request support from the Awakened Association to protect Sejun's family. He claims that since the name of the cultivator of cherry tomatoes is out, pressure from all over the world will arrive at his family. Dongshik wants to keep them safe, but Tae-jun tells him not to worry about that at all. He is not just an old man locked up in a room, and he had already predicted that a lot of people would try to reach Sejun's family as soon as he got Dongshik's call. He reveals that he has already set up a security team for Sejun's family. Tae-jun then tells Dongshik to take charge of the situation personally because he knows the family and it will be convenient for him to deal with them. He is determined to not let a great talent like Sejun's be stolen by another country. Tae-jun also hears that there have been some attempts from other countries to reach Sejun's family and asks Dongshik to confirm it too. Dongshik is shocked to hear that because he had no information regarding this. He realizes that his master has not lost his touch and thanks him. After that, he gives him a gift, which is a small basket of the magical cherry tomatoes. The old man is surprised to see the tomatoes, and Dongshik tells him that these are the magical cherry tomatoes grown by the tower farmer Sejun. He says that he got these as a gift from the wandering merchant cat Theo. Dongshik says that while the effect of the tomatoes is not related to the curse, they will still help Tae-jun because of their nutritional value. Tae-jun is amused by the cherry tomato and pops one in his mouth to find that it is delicious. Soon after that, Dongshik goes to Sejun's home, and his family is shocked to see the gifts he has brought for them. There are huge buckets of magical cherry tomatoes, carrots, and corn in front of them. While Sejun's parents are just some boomers who don't know what trend is going on. His brother, Sedal, knows what he is seeing. He remarks that the cherry tomatoes of weight loss are the most popular diet food right now. He is amazed that his brother grew these tomatoes as well as the carrots and corn, and his parents are also surprised. After that, Dongshik tells them that they might not be aware of the situation outside right now, but there are many people targeting Sejun. He tells them that they are not safe right now, and the Korean Awakened Association wants to protect them. He asks them to quickly pack their bags and prepare to move away. Sejun's mom is quite distressed to hear that they have to move away from their house. His dad also thinks that they are going away for a long time and complains that they haven't yet paid off the loan on their house. Dongshik tells them not to worry about that because the Awakened Association has prepared a house for them in a posh neighborhood called Hanam-dong. Sedal is really excited to hear the name of the neighborhood because many famous celebrities live there. He wants to know who lives near their place, and Dongshik says that he lives there with his family. Sedal is not impressed by learning this because he was hoping that there was a cute idol group living near their place. What a simp. Dongshik asks him if he likes idols and then asks him if he has heard of the well-known group called the LJSN group. Sedal smiles as he says that he is a big fan of the group, and it is famous all over Korea. As Dongshik whips out his phone, Sedal is shocked as he realizes that the man has some connection with the LJ group. He then shows a picture of himself and his daughter and tells Sedal that his daughter, Sira, is a member of the said LJ group. He tells Sedal that since he is a big fan, he would like to invite him over to his house. Sedol loses his cool as he learns that the idol Sira is Dongshik's daughter. She is the leader and the main vocalist of the group, and she is a genius when it comes to songwriting, composing, and singing. He screams that she is too beautiful and can't contain his excitement. He bows down before Dongshik, saying that he had only heard that her father was a hunter, but he didn't know that he was the leader of the Phoenix Guild. Sedol gets too carried away and starts calling Dongshik's father and asking him to take him in. He thanks him and sucks up to him, and while his real father wonders why a stranger is taking away his place, the mom is more concerned about other things. She is worried about Sejun, who is obviously her favorite son. Dongshik told them that Sejun was working in the tower as a farmer, and they did not know that bit before. Earlier, they only thought that he was working hard in the tower, but it is even more difficult to farm. She hopes he is doing fine and wonders if there is anyone taking care of him. Well, there is someone trying to take care of him, and it is none other than the Tsundere dragon alien. She is cooking something from a recipe book, especially for Sejun. She puts in some wonder-working mushrooms and then a millennium-old dimension-starving demon in the stew before seasoning it with ordinary rock salt. With that, the stew begins shining brightly, indicating that it is done. Aileen is really happy that her gift is finally complete. On the other hand, Sejun is in his outdoor field, looking at the spring onion plants that have grown well. He had collected some seeds from the onion flowers a few days ago, and then planted them outside. Now, 2 weeks have passed, and the seeds have grown into mature plants. Sejun is with his best bud, the black rabbit, and tells him that they can harvest the onion plants now. He hopes to get an item by harvesting the plants grown from seeds, but as he cuts a leaf using his dagger, he finds that it is just their regular green onion leaf, and it has no information window. Sejun is disappointed that it is not an item and wonders if it is like that because it is not a fruit. However, the black warrior rabbit has an idea, and he pats the ground with his foot to tell Sejun to try uprooting the plants. Sejun gets the idea and immediately plucks out a green onion plant from the ground. Just as he does that, a system window appears in front of him, informing him that he has harvested a detoxifying green onion. His other skills also take effect following that. Thanks to his skill harvest, which has reached level 4, the crop he harvested is 1 level higher than usual. His job experience has also increased by 36 EXP points, and his skill proficiency has also increased. Sejun then reads the information window about the green onion he just harvested. He finds that it is a C+ rated crop, and when ingested, it can detoxify poisons of grade C+ or lower for 1 hour. Also, it boosts the functions of the liver for 24 hours after consumption. The shelf life of the green onion plant is 135 days. Sejun is amazed to see a green onion, which is classified as an item. He has confirmed his hypothesis that if he plants fruits or seeds, the product is an item. He thinks that he should have thought about collecting green onion seeds and planting them a long time ago, and the black rabbit agrees. The two men then decide to find out what the detoxifying green onion tastes like and take a bite. They don't find anything special about it, and it tastes just like their usual one. Also, there is no way to tell if its detoxifying power is working or not. Sejun thinks that its liver strengthening power will be very helpful for alcoholics. He thinks that since green onions grow quickly, once there are a lot of them, he will sell all of them. Just then, the chunky rabbit comes there to call Sejun and the black rabbit for lunch, or more precisely, for preparing lunch. However, as they reach the pond, they find that there are no fish or crayfish there. All of them are dejected, and Sejun remarks that he tried to lure the fish out by using blood as a bait too, but it was all useless. He says that they should give up on eating meat for a while, and while the black warrior rabbit is just sad, the chunky rabbit feels like his reason for living has been taken away. Just then, Sejun gets a message from Alien, who says that she has prepared a gift to celebrate Sejun's 200 days in the tower. He is shocked to realize that it has already been 200 days since he came here. While he is busy talking about their 200-day anniversary with Alien, the black rabbit is consoling his heartbroken brother in the background. Sejun then asks Alien what the gift is that she is giving him, after saying that he feels touched that she prepared something for him. To give him the gift, Alien generates a quest and asks Sejun for only 1 cherry tomato in exchange for the surprise gift. She doesn't put a penalty on the quest because she is certain that Sejun won't refuse her gift. He does as she says and gives her a cherry tomato to complete the quest. The system shows him a message that, as a reward for completing the quest, Sejun gets Alien's health soup. Suddenly, a big cauldron materializes out of thin air and falls on the ground, shocking Sejun. He screams at what is happening as he sees the soup in the cauldron. While the system called it health soup, it looks more like a black magic curse soup with dead frogs, wasps, and monster eyes floating in it. The information window for the so-called health soup says that it is the first dish the great black dragon Aileen Fratani has created. The taste of the dish cannot be guaranteed, but it will certainly have great effects, but only if the consumer survives at first. Upon eating the soup of health, all the stats of the user will go up by 3, but he will also get poisoned. He will be affected by a grade C paralyzing poison and a grade C acidic poison after eating the soup. Despite the curses, the grade of the soup is A. Sejun is shocked to see that it is an item, or, speaking the truth, a cursed item. His rabbit friends are also disgusted by the soup, and Sejun asks Aileen if she really made this for him. Aileen replies that she is going to sleep now because she put a lot of effort into cooking for him. Sejun wonders how much effort she put into getting so tired, and Aileen just laughs as she is bundled up in her pillows. She tells Sejun that she made it with great care, so he must finish it. She says that once she wakes up, she wants to hear his review, but if he doesn't finish it, she will kill him. Aileen falls asleep with that, and Sejun panics as he tries to wake her up. He realizes he is doomed because of the soup and immediately turns to his rabbit friends. He says that he is recruiting them to eat the soup for him, but they are already running away for their lives. Even the chunky rabbit knows that the soup is not worth eating. Sejun tells them not to abandon him, but they don't listen, and even the queen bee and her kids feel sick upon smelling the soup. As the tower manager enjoys her peaceful sleep, Sejun finds himself grappling with the ominous task of confronting her cursed soup alone. Sejun fixes a repulsed gaze upon the cursed soup, his facial expression grimacing with a distinct sense of disgust. He carefully weighs the potential advantages and drawbacks of eating it. Despite his revulsion, Sejun couldn't help but admit that the item was really good, as it would boost his stats by 3. However, he cannot simply ignore the risk of consuming acidic poison and grade C paralyzing poison. Just then, the black rabbit gives Sejun a brilliant idea to use grade C detoxifying green onions in order to minimize the adverse effects of the poisons. Sejun agrees to the black rabbit's suggestion with gleeful enthusiasm, knowing he won't at least die from the poison if he eats this. He consumes several detoxifying green onions, making him cleansed from grade C+ or lower poisons for an hour. Upon the completion of careful preparations, a sense of anticipation permeates the air as a collective gathering forms around Sejun, all eyes fixated on him, eagerly awaiting the moment he starts eating the soup. Sejun lifts the spoon to his lips, thinking and hoping that the soup might offer a taste superior to its visual presentation. The black rabbit, serving as an encouraging companion, watches him as well. However, the initial enthusiasm soon breaks down. Sejun's facial expression deforms into sheer disgust, and he ends up vomiting in revulsion, prompting the others to instinctively retreat in astonishment and concern. It's clearly not a good time to use the phrase "don't judge a book by its cover." Overwhelmed by the repulsive taste, Sejun, now distraught, begins shedding tears. His distress is soon compounded by the abrupt emergence of multiple message windows, rapidly detailing the process of his repeated poisonings and subsequent detoxifications. The continuous notifications add to his growing dismay. Despite the common belief that the worse the medicine tastes, the better its effectiveness, Sejun categorizes this soup as the absolute worst. Frustrated and disheartened, he directs his anger at Aileen, labeling her a pig brat and accusing her of attempting to harm him with this dreadful concoction. However, Sejun shows no signs of relenting. Determined to make a bold move, even if it seems like a risky endeavor, he decides to consume the entire bowl of soup at once. Plunging his mouth into the cauldron, he leaves the others astonished by his audacious act. With his eyes closed, Sejun continues gulping down the soup, hoping that avoiding direct eye contact with the revolting mixture will make it more bearable. He persists in his quest to consume the entire serving, maintaining unwavering focus. Shutting his eyes tightly, Sejun shields himself from the seemingly revolting sight of the soup, filled with the unsettling presence of dead frogs, wasps, and monstrous eyes. Amidst this daring act, Sejun notices the soup is running out. Opening his eyes in anticipation, he is met with an unexpected surprise, a peculiar, slimy visage lurking at the bottom of the pot. The shock prompts him to involuntarily drop the pot, which plunges into the water below. A sudden burst of message windows disrupts Sejun's culinary ordeal, announcing his successful consumption of all of Aileen's health soup. To his surprise, his stats experience a commendable boost of 3 points. The unexpected bonus comes in the form of an additional 2 EXP earned by Sejun. The persistent cascade of message windows leaves Sejun increasingly perplexed as the notifications keep rolling in. Each pop-up details his conquests over multiple piranhas and crayfish, with every victorious encounter contributing to a steadily growing pool of EXP. The pinnacle of astonishment arrives when the system reports his triumph over a colossal electric eel, resulting in a jaw-dropping 5,000 EXP. This shocks Sejun. He and his friends soon come to the realization that this underwater soap opera was a result of aliens' so-called health soup that had been dropped in the pond. As they all stare at the pond, they find it completely poisoned. The rabbit, Chonky, seemingly leaps up, possibly due to a well-timed release of gas, and expresses his disappointment, while Sejun, quick to apologize, clarifies that his startled reaction led to the accidental dropping of the cauldron. With a weary sigh, Sejun acknowledges the unfortunate consequence that they won't be able to enjoy any pond-sourced delicacies for the time being. Despite this setback, he optimistically suggests that the issue of drinking water can be resolved using the water from the rabbit's water can. But what Sejun is highly concerned about is the hole in the pond. A lot of piranhas and crayfish died after being poisoned, and even a giant electric eel has been killed, which means that there is a larger ecosystem in the hole. However, Sejun worries about the hole in the pond. The aftermath reveals a significant loss of life, with piranhas and crayfish succumbing to poisoning. Notably, even a giant electric eel met its demise, hinting at the existence of a more extensive ecosystem within the depths of the now compromised pond. Inspired by a need to obtain future protein sources, Sejun contemplates solutions. The determined black rabbit suggests that he is swimming and navigating the pond hole to explore potential resources. However, Sejun hesitates and dismisses the idea, emphasizing that the pond water remains contaminated. Even if the black rabbit consumes the detoxifying green onion, the hole is too restrictive. Sejun expresses concerns about potential dangers, fearing that if the rabbit attempts to cross the hole and encounters difficulties, it may get stuck, leading to potential harm or even death. This makes the black rabbit sulk. He had worked so hard on his scuba diving lessons. Despite understanding the black rabbit's eagerness, Sejun affectionately caresses him, saying he gets his feelings, but he is so precious that he cannot send him off to such a dangerous place. Instead, Sejun suggests a more cautious approach, proposing to reconsider the idea once the pond water has undergone sufficient dilution, ensuring a safer exploration for potential protein sources in the future. He cheers up the rest by informing them that they have food still saved up that will last them for a while. Meanwhile, within Waypoint, the central base of operations for the Minotaur King, an undeniable air of impatience permeates the majestic throne room. The king, a figure of immense authority and stature, finds himself grappling with a growing sense of unease and impatience as the prolonged absence of Ox 3, a trusted subordinate, becomes increasingly noticeable. The king, seated upon his throne, contemplates the potential reasons behind Ox 3's extended delay. He ponders whether this member may have unintentionally overlooked or, more disturbingly, forsaken the royal directives that govern their actions. The gravity of the situation propels the king to seek immediate clarity and information. Turning his attention to Ox 1, another member of his council, the king implores him for updates on the ongoing mission assigned to Ox 4 that is to find Ox 3. Ox 1 doesn't mince words as he discloses the disturbing news. Ox 4, too, has not returned and is now deemed Mia. This revelation intensifies the king's already unease. Ox 1's concern deepens as he contemplates the possibility that the adventurous duo, in their quest for delectable grass, might have unwittingly ventured into perilous territories. His worrisome scenarios include the ominous domain of the red fur, notorious for its dangers, or the treacherous vicinity populated by venomous bees, all for the sake of a mere culinary pursuit. He even hints at the presence of those terrible bastards in a certain unknown location. Ox 1 shares ominous rumors, suggesting that even their very bodies may not endure if they ventured into those hazardous regions. The king, acknowledging the potential vulnerability of Ox 3, admits to the possibility. However, he affirms his faith in Ox 4, recognizing the latter as a tough warrior unlikely to succumb easily. Faced with the pressing need to take control of the situation, the king issues a directive to Ox 1, entrusting him with the responsibility of overseeing 100 Ox soldiers at Waypoint. This temporary leadership assignment is aimed at maintaining order in the Minotaur King's absence. Convinced that personal intervention is vital, the king resolves to step in and find the missing Ox 3 and Ox 4 himself. Meanwhile, Sejun and his friends have managed to cultivate an abundance of green onions. Sejun contemplates whether it's enough to satisfy the voracious appetite of 100 Minotaurs until they're happily full. Kyung, in a state of pleasant exhaustion, sprawls across the plush bed of green onions, surprised by their unexpected softness. Sejun smiles at his adorableness and suggests to Kyung that he gather some of the fresh produce to enhance his sleep experience and perhaps share a portion with his mother. Suddenly, a message window pops up, activating level 1 of the Wishing for a Good Harvest feature. The notification reveals that a benevolent blessing has been bestowed upon 70 pyong of green onion fields, resulting in a significant boost in the harvest rate by 50% for the upcoming week. Sejun, witnessing the miraculous effects of the Wishing for a Good Harvest activation, marvels as the crops flourish instantaneously before his eyes. He takes note and decides to harvest the green onions 3 times now instead of the usual twice. Sejun's attributes experienced a rapid surge, all thanks to Aileen's soup. Another message window pops up, stating that the tower manager is inquiring whether he has eaten up all of the soup she made. Sejun admits that he did level up, giving credit to Aileen for the unexpected boost. When Aileen inquires about the taste, Sejun hesitates at first. Aileen expresses how sad she is and asks if it tastes bad. Seeing this, Sejun quickly reassures her that it is delicious, claiming it is delicious. He says it's true, or he wouldn't have finished it all. He remarks, laughingly, that it was a taste worth dying for. Suddenly, another message window appears, and it's from the tower manager, holding her pot and expressing her willingness to whip up another batch if Sejun liked it that much. Spotting this, Sejun hurriedly urges Aileen not to trouble herself. Curious, Aileen inquires about the reason behind his request. Once again, a new message window pops up, reaffirming the tower manager's eagerness to craft a fresh serving if Sejun found the previous one delightful. Sejun, a bit anxious, advises Aileen against it, pointing out how she exerted all her energy last time, working exceptionally hard to prepare the soup. He suggests that she not go to such great lengths for his sake. Sejun shares how he enjoys these heart-to-heart conversations, assuring Aileen that she shouldn't exhaust herself for his sake. With genuine warmth, he steps forward, offering to take on the cooking responsibilities to treat her to delightful meals. His heartfelt words work like a charm on Aileen, just as he had intended. Deeply moved, Aileen reflects on the depth of his consideration and how much he cares about their connection. She laughs as she thinks about his words, playfully extending her arm to meet the wall. In an unexpected turn of events, this playful act unintentionally transforms into a lively collision, causing the wall to succumb to a boisterous impact and crumble into pieces. Undeterred by the unintended destruction, she joyfully expresses her pride in Sejun, the skilled tower farmer. She ultimately affirms her agreement, inducing a profound sense of relief in Sejun, who, in turn, expresses his gratitude for her understanding. Curious about the evening's culinary offerings, Aileen inquires about the dinner menu. Suddenly and unexpectedly, the earth beneath their feet begins to tremble with violent intensity, causing bewilderment for Sejun and his companions. In the midst of their confusion, echoing footsteps reverberate through the cultivated field, wreaking havoc on the promising growth of green onions that had been recently cultivated. To their shock, emerging from the disarray is none other than the formidable figure of the Ox King. His imposing presence towers over Sejun and his friends, creating an aura of intimidation. The ground continues to quiver under the Ox King's feet as he ferociously makes his way towards Sejun and his companions. On the other hand, Sejun, taken aback by the unexpected appearance of yet another Minotaur, watches with a mix of surprise and uneasiness as the Ox King steadily makes his way towards them. This leaves him and his friends on edge, uncertain of the unfolding events that now seem to be in the hands of the formidable Ox King. As the Minotaur King heads towards Sejun's group, trampling the green onion plants, which I think is out of character for someone who desperately needs food, he moves loud enough to create strong gusts of wind. As Sejun covers his ears, the mama bear looks menacingly at the intruder. Sejun loudly exclaims that a Minotaur other than Ox number 3 and cow number 4 is heading towards them, and Aileen drops him a message telling him that he is not just any Minotaur but the Minotaur King, the boss of the 99th floor. Sejun craps his pants, while Aileen further explains that the Minotaur King has the duty to guard the waypoint, and that is why he cannot leave the area of the waypoint under normal conditions. Sejun sees a threat as well as an opportunity. He thinks that the Minotaur King is the monster who guards the way out of the tower, and he is the one the mama bear told him about. He then wonders why the final boss is here so suddenly. Aileen also has no idea, but she is willing to talk to the Minotaur King on Sejun's behalf. But first, she checks the rulebook that her grandfather gave her, which states that the Minotaur King cannot leave the area of the waypoint. She thinks that she must question him directly about the anomaly, and uses her authority as the tower manager to summon him to her. However, the system says Saiken refuses to carry out Aileen's order. She is aghast as she reads this and wonders how this can happen because the tower manager's rights are absolute. Aileen tells Sejun that she won't be able to talk to the Minotaur King, and she can't help him. Sejun is nervous and wonders what is going to happen next as the rabbits cling to him while the Black Warrior Rabbit stands in front of them to carry out his duty. Sejun screams at the tower manager, asking if there is no way to stop the monster rampaging towards them. But Kyung's mom gets on her hind feet and roars, telling him to leave the fight to him. Sejun knows that the Minotaur King is much stronger than the Mama Bear because he is the boss of the 99th floor. The Minotaur King kicks the ground hard and jumps up, crushing the green onion plants, which is a crime that won't be forgiven. He lunges towards the Mama Bear, ready to strike her down, and Sejun and the rabbits cling to Kyung, fearing that they are going to die. Even the Black Warrior Rabbit has given up the thought of protecting others. Aileen screams Sejun's name because she doesn't want him to die, but then suddenly, the Minotaur King's axe lands at a safe distance from him with a great impact. Sejun opens his eyes and wonders what is happening, only to find the Minotaur King hogging the green onions he had just harvested. The Minotaur King roars in pleasure as he feels the delicious taste of the green onion leaves, and everyone on Sejun's side realizes that no matter how powerful he is, the king is still a hungry bull after all. They are low-key disappointed that he turned out to be just like the other Minotaurs they know, who are ready to give up everything for food. After the Minotaur King has filled his stomach a bit, he carries as many green onion leaves as he can carry in his hands and starts running away, much to Sejun's shock. He carries his axe in his mouth, pretending that he is Rananoa Zoro as he leaves deep hoof marks on the field. Sejun wonders why the hell was that guy here, and Aileen informs him that he seems to be heading back to the waypoint. That is a good thing for Sejun, who can heave a sigh of relief. He falls to the ground, holding the chunky rabbit, admitting that his legs almost gave out. He knows that everyone else was also terrified, and thanks Mama Bear for trying to protect them. While they are safe now, Sejun gets disheartened as he takes a look at his field, which looks like a storm just passed through it. He sadly collects all the green onion plants that have been uprooted or otherwise destroyed by the Minotaur King, and the rabbits provide their assistance to him. Everyone is sad that the Minotaur destroyed more crops than he ate. Aileen messages Sejun again, saying that she is relieved that the tower farmer is safe and feels sorry that his field turned into a mess. He thanks her for her kind words and tells her that she does not need to worry. He claims to be actually glad now and thinks that if he only knew how much of a glutton the Minotaur King was, he would have paid him a visit sooner. He exclaims that he didn't expect the Minotaur King to come here himself, and Aileen asks him what he means by that. Sejun explains his diabolical plan to take advantage of the situation. He tells Aileen that the Minotaurs are a warrior tribe that rates their honor very highly, and he believes that this will be even more true in the case of their king. Aileen takes a moment to process it, but she realizes what her man is thinking. Sejun explains the plan directly, saying that the Minotaur King not only thrashed his field, he also dined and dashed, and he must pay back for it. He has a mischievous smile on his face as he wonders how many times he should get the big black ox to pay him back. I just want to say rip to the Minotaur King in advance. The next day, Sejun prepares lunch for all his friends, which includes their regular roasted green onion stems, corn, and tomatoes. He tells the rabbits to eat quickly, because then they have to get to work and mend the field that the Minotaur King ruined yesterday. However, the kids are throwing a tantrum like someone took away their iPad. While their parents fail to console them, Sejun is not in the mood to show them any mercy. He grabs the rabbit kids, claiming that they shouldn't whine so much because they have no meat on the menu. He tells them to grow up already because they are now at the age where they should help their parents in the field, and he orders them to eat their food quietly. Sejun points towards Kyung and tells the kids that even he is eating vegan food without complaining. He tells the kids that when the next blue moon comes, they will also become adults, and he asks them if they still don't want to grow up by that time. His words work on the babies, who start eating. Sejun praises them, saying that this is what makes them cool white farming rabbits. He then goes to pat Kyung and praise him for not being a picky eater. This makes Sejun realize that Kyung is not getting bigger nowadays, considering the fact that his growth rate in the beginning was faster than the rate at which the universe is expanding. Kyung falls on his back, and Sejun asks him if he is sick somewhere, because there is no way that his diet is lacking. Just then, Sejun hears Theo's voice and turns around to see him and the two Minotaur guards carrying the wolves they captured. Sejun is about to welcome his sales cat, but then he turns his attention to the wolves and asks the Minotaurs about them. Ox number 3 tells him that they are the Silver Wolf tribe, and Theo climbs on his shoulders as he reveals that they were the ones who targeted him earlier. He says that cow number 4 taught them a good lesson, but he didn't know how to punish them. That is why he brought them here so that Sejun could make the decision. Sejun thinks that he should hear the story of the wolves first before deciding on their punishment and finds that they are asleep. Cow number 4 tells him that the wolves were being noisy on the way, so she just gave them a dose of her fists, and Sejun asks her if they will wake up again. Theo interrupts them as he asks Sejun about why the field is in such bad condition, and he sighs before turning to the 2 minotaurs and revealing to them that it was the fault of their king. The minotaur couple flinch as they realize that their king has found out about their location, and they realize that they are done for. Sejun tells them that they can worry about those things at a later time. Right now, he wants the minotaurs to relax after their long journey, and tells them to join him at lunch. Food is one thing that can make them forget anything, and they immediately kick away the fear of their king punishing them and head towards the lunch table. They leave the wolves behind, and Sejun just watches them go. Then Theo tells him that there is something important he must tell him, and Sejun asks him what is up. The cat merchant is about to tell him about the things he learned from Dongshik on the 38th floor, but neither of them is aware that the leader of the wolves, Elka, is up and about to attack them from behind. They realize it too late, but fortunately, Sejun's personal bodyguard, Qing, steps in and sends the wolf away with a devastating punch to the ground. He covers Sejun as Elka curses him for interfering. Theo notices that Sejun's straw hat is gone, and he panics upon realizing that. It turns out that Elka's attack was not a failure, and he quickly retreats as his companions wake up and take their positions. He holds the straw hat and thanks Sejun for returning it to him, leaving him in a state of panic about his most valued artifact being stolen. While Elka proudly holds the straw hat, Sejun's bodyguards look ready to beat the living daylights out of him. Sejun panics about losing his artifact-grade straw hat, while Theo curses the wolves, accusing them of pretending to pass out to get close to the hat. Elka doesn't mind them, and he commands his subordinates to get ready to leave. However, just as they turn around, something big, red, and furious stands in their way. It is Qing's mom who gives the wolves a death stare, scaring them out of their wits. Elka gets a moment to express his disbelief before Mama Bear brings down her hammer of judgment upon him, forcing the wolves to step back. She roars loudly, and Elka can no longer go on pretending that he is the big bad wolf. He drops the hat and raises his hand as he declares his surrender. Sejun goes to pick up his hat and places it on his head, thanking his luck that it was not torn. With that, he decides that it is time to judge the sins of the wolves, who are stuck between much more ferocious monsters than they can handle. Cow number 4 says that she should have really broken their legs, and the mama bear agrees with her. Even Qing is ready to throw hands at the slightest provocation. But the wolves don't have any spirit left. Sejun wonders what he should do about those angry wolves, and Theo translates Qing's response. The baby bear says that they should eat the wolves because they haven't been getting any protein lately, and Sejun is dumbfounded. Sejun tells Qing that murder is wrong and snaps the baby bear out of it by offering him some honey. It works, and Sejun leaves Qing to the second poison queen bee. As the baby bear leaves, Sejun turns to the adults, tells them to stop being so riled up, and asks them to take a seat. They listen to him and sit down, and Elka can't believe his eyes. He has heard stories about the crimson bears and the minotaurs being unbelievably strong, and he wonders why monsters like them are listening to an ordinary man so obediently. One wolf says that Theo just called the human chairman earlier, and he wonders if that is a nickname or title they use only on the 99th floor. Another wolf loses his mind and starts screaming that he is not a human but a black dragon in disguise. He says that it is the only way all the powerful monsters will listen to him. He shouts that the great black dragon of the legends really exists, and chairman is the way to address him. Elka has also heard stories about the great black dragons that rule over the 99th floor, but he can't believe that the weak-looking guy in front of them is the same dragon. He is not the dragon, but her soon-to-be boyfriend. Elka thinks that Sejun must have taken the weak form to make them lower their guard, and he thinks that this is all his trial for them. He knows a tale or two about the black dragon that his old grandfather used to tell him, and he is certain about how he is going to respond to this trial because this might be his only chance. Sejun then approaches the wolves cautiously, and he first asks them why they are after Theo and the straw hat. Elka immediately prostrates himself before Sejun, calling him the great black dragon and apologizing for his actions. He declares that they are lowly beings who didn't know anything and disrespected a great being like him because they had no idea that the merchant cat was his subordinate. Sejun is shocked to hear about the great black dragon, and so is Aileen, who was watching everything through her magic crystal. She bursts out laughing as she understands what is going on and thinks that it is funnier than Friends. She sends Sejun a message, telling him that she will forgive him for pretending to be the Great Black Dragon. Aileen issues him a new quest to show the Silver Wolves the majesty of the Great Black Dragon. The reward for the quest is Aileen's happiness, while the penalty for refusing is her disappointment. She keeps on egging Sejun to pretend to be the dragon in place of her, and tells him that it will certainly help him. As Sejun reads that Aileen wants him to act in place of her, everything becomes clear to him. He realizes that the tower manager he once called a winged pig is a great black dragon, and that is a grand revelation. He takes a moment to calm himself down, as he thinks that it was obvious that Aileen would be something special since she was the tower manager. Seeing him so silent, Theo asks Sejun if anything is wrong. Sejun thinks to himself that since Aileen wants it, he should gladly put on a show for her. He acts smug as he addresses the wolves, saying that they caught him. He says that he never thought they would recognize him in this form, and then starts laughing like a menace while declaring that he is the Great Black Dragon. Theo is the one most shocked by it, obviously. Sejun then asks the wolves how dare they try to steal his possession and threaten his dear subordinate. He declares that he cannot forgive this, and the wolves are still on their knees. This was not what Aileen had in mind when she told him to act like her, and she screams that Sejun is doing the exact opposite of what she thought. Even Ox number 3 seems to be fooled by Sejun's Oscar-worthy acting and asks his girlfriend if what he said is true. She looks at him with disappointment and gives him a light smack to the head. Theo also asks Sejun what he is doing because he is giving him the creeps. Sejun is still in character, and as he offers Theo a churu, he asks if his lovely subordinate would like to receive the Black Dragon's grace. That was enough incentive for the cat to join in on the act, and he declares that his chairman, Sejun, is the Black Dragon, and he is his direct subordinate. He tells the wolves to kneel before them, and Elka replies that they are already on their bellies, and they need a shovel to go any lower. Elka then says that they have committed a grave sin that is unforgivable. He says that he cannot atone for it even if he gives up his life as the chieftain of the Silver Wolves, but asks Sejun to have mercy on them and forgive them just this once. Sejun confidently tells them that he will give them one chance to earn his forgiveness, and the wolves are ready to take it without hearing what it is. Well, they regret it immediately, as Sejun asks them for 10,000 tower coins, stating that is the price for going after Theo's life. He declares that if they can pay him that much, he will spare their lives. The wolves exclaim in shock on hearing the amount, while Theo is moved that Sejun thinks his life is that precious. Sejun tells him that, obviously, he is the salesperson responsible for the distribution of their farm's products. He then asks Theo to bring out the contract papers, and he begins searching in his bundle. Elka then addresses Sejun as the Great Black Dragon and nervously informs him that they don't have that much money. Theo tosses him a contract paper and tells the wolf that if he doesn't have money, he should just pay with his body. Elka is shocked to hear that, and Theo elaborates that if he doesn't have any money, he should work here to repay the debt he owes. Elka starts sweating as he hears that, and one wolf tells him that if they sign this contract, their contract with the landlord, Grid, would be in jeopardy. The wolf chieftain thinks for a while before bowing before Sejun and apologizing again, saying that they cannot do as he says. Sejun is shocked because this is the first time someone has told him no, and Theo is equally surprised. Even Aileen is furious, and she sends a message to Sejun, saying that she cannot forgive the wolves for refusing his offer when he is pretending to be the Black Dragon. Sejun decides to ask the wolves the reason behind their action, and Elka reveals the truth. He explains that the 85th floor, where their tribe is located, is currently facing a serious food shortage due to a long-term drought. That is why strong guys like him have to become free mercenaries. They got hired by the landlord, Grid, who barely provides enough food for the wolves on the 85th floor. Elka explains that the commission they got from Grid this time was to find the stolen straw hat. He sadly says that now that they have found that the hat is in the possession of the Great Dragon, they have no choice but to fail their commission. Elka says that since they would fail, the food supply to the 85th floor would be cut off, and while they three work here, the young wolves of their tribe will starve to death. He asks Sejun to have pity on them this time and let them pay just with their lives this time. Sejun asks him his name, and Elka humbly introduces himself. Sejun then asks Elka what he thinks this place is, and he looks around to see the fields. He remarks that this is a place where crops are grown, and the realization hits him like a truck. Sejun declares that he will add a condition to their contract and put the debt of 10,000 tower coins upon the entire Silver Wolf tribe collectively. That means he will provide the opportunity for all of them to work here, and for the entire duration of their occupation. he will provide them with food. Sejun asks them what he thinks, and the two wolf lackeys hug each other in joy as they exclaim that they don't have to listen to the damned pig landlord anymore. They are happy that they survived, but Elka still appears a bit doubtful. He thanks Sejun, still calling him the Great Black Dragon, and promises that they will do their best to serve him. He starts crying as he thanks Sejun for this opportunity, and everyone is happy that the whole situation came to an end. Aileen is happy as she sees how her crush handled the dilemma of the wolves on her behalf, and the quest is complete. She tells Sejun that she is happy that the wolves are praising the Great Black Dragon. With that, Elka puts his paw mark on the contract as the leader of the Silver Wolves. According to the contract, the wolves are now Theo's underlings, and he will be overseeing them in the future. The contract is finalized, and Theo gets confident as he tells Elka that he will be working under him now. He takes charge of the situation and introduces the wolves to the Minotaur couple officially as their seniors at the company. He asks them to treat them with respect, and the wolves apologize to the Minotaurs before saying that they will be in their care from now on. While that is going on, Sejun can't help but think about the landlord, Grid. He wonders if he is a big shot within the tower and believes that he may be a threat in the future. Sejun thinks that Theo might be targeted again now that the wolves have failed, and he thinks that he should have the wolves protect him whenever he goes on his sales trips from now on. With that, the Minotaur couple will be free to work on the field, and plowing will be faster. Suddenly, Theo approaches Sejun, saying that he is hungry, and asks him to give him some fish because he wants to share them with the wolves too. Sejun is a bit nervous about how he should break the bad news to the cat, but he decides to tell him directly that there are no more fish. Theo throws a tantrum as he rolls on the floor while crying, and he calls Sejun a fraud. These words don't sit nicely with Sejun, who tells Theo to stop whining because he is doing everything he can. Even the Black Warrior Rabbit agrees and gives the cat some judgmental stares. Theo is adamant that he won't go to work if there are no fish on the menu, and it seems Sejun has no choice. Well, he and the Black Rabbit were already planning to do something about that. The poison in the lake has been diluted by quite a bit, and the Black Rabbit eats some detoxifying green onions to dive in. Sejun tells him to go beyond the hole in the lake and explore their new hunting ground. The first thing the Black Warrior Rabbit does to explore the pool is use his hammer and shatter the rocks around the hole. With one powerful blow from the sharp end of his hammer, he sends the rocks flying and creates a larger opening. Sejun takes a peek inside and commends the Black Warrior Rabbit, saying that the entrance has gotten much bigger now, and he can go inside and come out with ease. The Black Rabbit decides to do a trial run and swims into the hole, but comes out complaining in just a few seconds. Sejun asks him what he thinks about their chances to explore beyond the hole. The rabbit covers his eyes as he shakes his head, signaling that there is not enough visibility inside. Sejun understands him and thinks that if the place inside the hole is too dark, it is unsafe, even if they have a large passageway. He turns to Theo and asks him if he has any items that let him see in the dark, like a lantern or torch. Theo is busy playing with his rabbit nieces and nephews, who are up to no good. Sejun's question took him by surprise, and he claims that there is no way he would have such a thing. However, he turns his bundle upside down to see if there is anything helpful in it. This is me checking my empty fridge to see if some random snacks have spawned. The first thing that falls out of the bag is a baby rabbit who was trying to crawl into it. Next, there are the pouches of money that Theo got from selling cherry tomatoes and a can of fish that he got from one of the hunters. As a rabbit baby eats the canned fish, Theo notices a purple gemstone necklace that he bought on his way back just because it looked cool. Sejun picks up the necklace and curiously looks at it. Its information window pops up and reveals that its current name is Necklace with Scratched Jewel. Most information about it is not available since it is not appraised. Now, Sejun gets an idea, and he asks Aileen if she can appraise the necklace just like she did with the straw hat and the dagger before. Aileen takes the necklace off his hands and gives him a message, telling Sejun to leave it to her. She even reveals that the necklace is the perfect item for the current situation. He is glad to hear that, and he gives her a bucket full of cherry tomatoes to complete his quest and obtain the necklace after its appraisal. The quest is completed, and as a reward, he obtains the appraised item, which is called the Necklace of Light. That's some mighty plot armor. The necklace has completely changed after being appraised, and the scratched purple gemstone has turned into a smooth and golden gemstone. Sejun holds it and says the same thing that I just said. He then reads the information window of the Necklace of Light, which has an amber stone with light magic imprinted on it. The limit on its usage is that only someone above level 5 and with more than 3 mana can use it. Its manufacturer is someone called Mage Horan of the Green Tower, and its grade is C. It has the skill of lighting, which illuminates the surroundings when the necklace is used. The intensity of the light depends on the level of the user, and the stronger the user, the more brightly the necklace shines. Sejun is really happy to read the information window, and he exclaims that with the necklace of light, they can easily see the surroundings inside the hole in the pool. The Black Warrior Rabbit also agrees with him, and he is equally excited. Theo looks at Sejun with insistent eyes and asks him if the thing he brought helps. Since it does, he wants more of the sales cat time. Sejun cuddles with his paws, calling them the golden paws that bring great fortune. Theo is confused about what he is doing, and then Sejun tells him that from now on, he will be the sales cat forever. There is no need to get a time period as a reward now. Finally, our boy got the well-deserved promotion. The cat merchant is not yet sure if he heard it correctly and asks Sejun to elaborate once again. Sejun lifts him up and tells him that from today on, he is officially the salesperson responsible for the distribution of their crops. He tells Theo that he has really worked hard all this time, and it is finally time for him to reap the rewards. The cat merchant finally believes him, and he rejoices that from now on, he will always be the sales cat. He laughs as he declares that he is the sales cat Theo, and then Sejun gives him another reward. As a commemoration of his promotion, he gives his sales cat the chance to be president for one day too. Theo is happy to hear that and declares that he really likes it. He immediately gets into the role of president, and in his newfound capacity, he orders the Black Rabbit to use the necklace and bring back lots of fish. The Black Rabbit gives him a salute as he puts the necklace around himself, and then Sejun tells him that they should give their exploration another go for their protein. Sejun first tries using the necklace of light himself and finds that the amber stone is glowing quite gently because of his mana. He exclaims that it looks really pretty, and then takes it out to give it to the Black Warrior Rabbit, who is actually going to use it. Sejun remarks that the information window said that the higher the level of the user, the stronger the light will shine, and he wants to try it on the Black Rabbit now, who is quite eager to try it out. As soon as he wears it, the amber stone starts shining brightly, and Sejun can't believe that he lost to a freaking rabbit. He can't believe that his level and mana are both lower than the Black Rabbit. On the other hand, the Black Rabbit is proud, as he should be. Sejun consoles himself by saying that it is good for their exploration because, with this amount of light, they won't have any problem seeing inside the dark hole. He then makes the Black Rabbit eat some detoxifying green onions just in case, and he ties a safety rope around him too. He tells the rabbit that if he encounters any difficulty or runs out of air, he should quickly tug the rope 2 times, and he will pull him out. On top of that, Sejun gives him a dagger because using a hammer underwater will be difficult, and a pouch to collect things. The Black Rabbit puts the pouch and the dagger by his side and gets ready to dive in. Sejun wishes him the best of luck, and the rabbit thanks him. He then takes a deep breath before diving into the water and swimming into the cave. Just so you know, rabbits aren't the best swimmers, so don't make your pet rabbits explore any water body like this. However, the Black Warrior Rabbit is built different, and he casually swims towards a light at the bottom of the cave he is in. He soon reaches the point from where the light is coming and emerges on the other side of the cave. As Sejun once suspected, there is a whole ecosystem out there. The very first thing the Black Warrior Rabbit sees are giant tree roots and rocks, which are a rich source of all types of precious and mystic crystals. Not only that, there are giant whale-like fish, and smaller fish simply swarm around them. The Black Rabbit can't even comprehend how vast the water body is. There are different types of fish and other aquatic animals as far as he can see. He is mesmerized as a giant whale passes overhead and then looks closer to him and finds several piranhas, crayfish, and even a giant electric eel. All of them are dead, and the Black Rabbit instantly realizes that it is because of the health potion the tower manager made. He decides to check out the electric eel first and approaches it while drawing his dagger. He digs his dagger into the eel and slices it cleanly, stopping only as he sees a bright golden light coming from within it. The Black Rabbit stares in curiosity as he sees a golden drop inside the eel and decides to take it. He finds that it is simply called insides of electric eel. However, he believes that it can have really good uses, which might make Sejun praise him more while giving a cold shoulder to Theo. The Black Rabbit snickers to himself as he puts the golden drop in his pouch. Is this the birth of a Naruto and Sasuke level rivalry? He then carefully ties the rope around the head of the eel, when suddenly he feels danger. He turns around and finds a great white shark attacking him and the electric eel. The Black Rabbit dodges to the side in time, but the shark bites the eel's body. The jerk the rabbit feels is so great that he suddenly gasps for breath and lets the air out. Luckily, the shark manages to tear apart the electric eel's body and runs away with it, leaving the Black Rabbit with the eel's head. He is losing consciousness now and decides to tug on the rope to give Sejun the signal to pull him out. Sejun receives his signal, and he commands everyone to help him pull the black rabbit up. All the adult rabbits lend him their strengths, while the baby rabbits just cheer them on from the sidelines. Soon, they are able to pull the black rabbit up, but Sejun is startled as he sees him unconscious. He holds the unconscious rabbit in his arm and tries to wake him up, but it seems to be of no use. Sejun can only scream at his friend to wake up, and everyone else, including the rabbits and the queen poison bee, is distraught as they worry about him. And next to him, the worried Theo asks what they should do now. The parent rabbits also come to the scene to check on their son. Sejun gives his straw hat to the queen bee to hold for a second, while all the rabbits anxiously watch him. The mother rabbit is already crying, while the chunky rabbit tries to stop his younger siblings from seeing the scene. Well, Sejun is going with the classic mouth-to-mouth oxygen transfer, which honestly makes him look like a rabbit molester. However, before he can do anything, the black rabbit suddenly spits out the water in his belly at Sejun because he doesn't want to do anything gay. Everyone is overjoyed that the black warrior rabbit is awake, and his parents hug him in relief. Meanwhile, Sejun is spitting the salty water that got into his mouth because of the rabbit fountain. He then turns to his friend and asks him if he is fine, and the black rabbit says something angrily, which I don't understand because I don't speak rabbit. Sejun understands it and tells him to stop complaining, but the black rabbit doesn't seem too happy. Meanwhile, Aileen is watching everything through her magic crystal, and she is fangirling over Sejun as always. He is complaining that he almost sacrificed his first kiss to save the black rabbit who is being ungrateful now, but then he puts back his hat on and says it is a relief that he is fine. He then asks him why the water is so salty, and Aileen is the one to answer the question. She tells Sejun that apparently the black rabbit was in the Sea of Dimensions. He is curious about this new term, and Aileen tells him that the Sea of Dimensions is something that is in between the floors of the tower. She explains that there are many dangerous and scary underwater monsters there, and that is why one can only rely on the passageways to safely move through the floors. However, sometimes there are water holes on some floors that can lead to the Sea of Dimensions, and this pond is one such hole. Aileen then tells him that there are different types of aquatic creatures in the Sea of Dimensions, and among them, quite a few are very tasty as well. Sejun finally understands why the crayfish were here. He tells Aileen that he finally gets why sea creatures were popping out of a freshwater pond. He then turns to the black rabbit and asks him if there were any edible-looking fish in the sea. While Theo climbs on Sejun's shoulder, the black rabbit searches inside his pouch to give Sejun what he found. He presents to him the insides of the giant electric eel, which now look like a fake dragon ball. Sejun gets a system message that he has acquired the insides of a giant electric eel, and as he holds it, he wonders what is special about it. The information window for the item opens up, which tells him that these are the insides of an electric eel that has lived for 1,000 years, and they shine with the power of electricity. Upon consuming this, the user will be able to gain the skills of rain and thunder. However, there are conditions to its usage too. Only the person who defeated the giant electric eel can use it, and even though he used a deadly poison to do that, Sejun is given credit for killing the eel. Also, he needs to have mana above 10 to consume this great item. Sejun is shocked to read this and asks his rabbit friend if he really found a giant electric eel, and he proudly explains how big it was. On the other hand, Theo only has one question: is the eel delicious? To give him an answer, the black warrior rabbit pulls out the green onion rope, and the head of the giant electric eel he tied to it earlier comes out of the water. As the eel head emerges from the pond with a great splash, Sejun and everyone else are equally amazed to see the sight, and the chunky rabbit has already started drooling. Not only that, a lot of piranhas and crayfish also jump out of the water and start swimming in the pond again. Sejun is really happy to see this, and he thinks that they were all lured here by the oily scent of the electric eel head. He lifts the black rabbit high in the air, commending him for doing an excellent job and bringing back their source of protein. While other rabbits also congratulate him, Theo is checking out the eel in the background. Sejun then orders the rabbits to get the fire going because they are going to have a meaty feast tonight. Sejun starts cooking a variety of dishes for the feast, and while the stew is boiling in the cave, he is outside, receiving shocking news. He has just learned that his family is in danger, and he cannot believe it. In the background, the minotaurs, the wolves, and the rabbits are having their lunch, while Theo is telling Sejun the details. He reveals that Kim Dongshik told him about how Sejun's family is in danger and promised to protect them in his stead. Sejun complains that his cherry tomatoes have gotten more popular on Earth than he could ever imagine, while the mama bear grooms queuing in the background. Sejun had never thought that his family would be in danger because of his success, and he is worried about them. He then asks Theo that the next time he goes down to the 38th floor, he should find out some detailed information about how exactly Dongshik is protecting his family. Theo gladly accepts the order. Sejun then thinks about Dongshik from the Phoenix Guild, who helped him in the past too. This time, he feels really indebted to him and thinks that he must somehow return the favor. Theo tells him that Dongshik likes cherry tomatoes, so that can be a good repayment. Sejun says that it is perfect, and along with the cherry tomatoes, he will gift him other crops too. With that, Theo gets on his lap and asks him to feed him some churros as his sales cat privilege. Sejun decides to give him 2 churros instead because of his good work, but as he is taking them out of his pocket, the insides of the electric eel fall out. Theo remarks that it is the bead that the black rabbit gave him earlier, and Sejun replies that he forgot all about it while he was catching fish. He then says that he can even get a skill upon consuming it. Theo doesn't really care much about the skill, but he still asks for formality. Sejun replies that the information window says it is a skill called Rain and Thunder, which must be an electric skill. Theo is shocked to hear this and exclaims that it is like static electricity. He jumps backwards and gets into a high alert position while telling Sejun that he hates static as it makes his fur stiff and crinkly. Sejun just laughs and teases the cat, saying that he already likes it. He then says that after coming into the tower, he only learned farming skills, but this will be the first time he will learn another type of skill. He laughs, saying that he finally feels like an adventurer now. Theo is quick to give him a reality check and says that he has barely gotten out of the cave. He then asks Sejun why he is not eating the insides in that case, because the sooner he gets a skill, the better it will be for him. Sejun sadly tells him that he can't eat it right now because he lacks the mana for it. He cries as he shows that his current mana is only 8.05, and he needs a minimum mana of 10 to gain a skill from the insides of the electric eel. Theo suddenly bursts out laughing and says that Sejun doesn't have mana. He calls him weak and pathetic as he rolls on the floor, holding his belly. Sejun is furious at this and asks him how high his mana is. Theo just turns his butt towards him as he declares that he won't reveal that number. Unfortunately for him, Sejun has a way to find out, and he is frustrated enough to try it out. He puts the necklace of light around Theo's neck sneakily to judge his mana by the amount of light it radiates. Well, the light is too bright, and Sejun is immediately on his knees as he realizes that after a rabbit, he got defeated by a cat too. On the other hand, Theo has some newfound confidence, and he declares that he will protect Sejun from now on. Hewing also saw the necklace glowing, and he approaches Sejun to try it out too, but he doesn't want to be any more depressed and pathetic than he already is, so he doesn't let him try it. Meanwhile, the Minotaur couple is enjoying the green onion leaves, and the wolves are enjoying the fish. Elka thanks the chunky cart rabbit for delivering the food while the rest of the adult rabbits are busy eating. Sejun approaches the wolves and asks them if the food is to their liking. They immediately fall to their knees, still calling him the mighty black dragon because Sejun never told them the truth. He tells them to stop being so formal and enjoy their food. The wolves say that the food he is sharing with them is really delicious, and it shows how immeasurable his grace is. While 2 of them are busy praising and flattering him, Sejun notices that their leader, Elka, doesn't look so good. He understands that Elka is thinking about his tribe members on the 85th floor. The wolf leader tells Sejun that he is right and apologizes for worrying even after receiving his word. Sejun tells him to not worry about anything because he will be able to meet his tribe members soon. He knows that the blue moon is coming up in a few days, so the wolves will have to go back home to the 85th floor. Sejun promises to give them a lot of fish for their tribe members to eat, and Elka once again falls to his knees to thank him. Sejun declares that it is time to plant and harvest the crops that have been delayed and leaves that to his trusted sales cat. Theo takes charge and leads the wolves to their new job. After that, Sejun goes to the Minotaurs and tells them that they should get ready too, because there is somewhere they must go tomorrow. He wants both of them to guide him there. Ox number 3 asks Sejun where they are going, and he acts smug for a while before declaring that they are going to collect a debt from the Minotaur King. This comes as the biggest shock for the Minotaur couple, and they even drop the grass they were eating. At the same time, near the waypoint of the 99th floor, the Minotaurs are having a feast of the green onion leaves their king stole. They exclaim that it has been too long since they ate such tasty grass and scream in joy. But their leader sits on his throne with his hand to his face. The Minotaur King knows that he messed up big time, and he is depressed because of it. He had just gone to the territory border to look for ox number 3 and cow number 4. He saw the giant crimson bear and some other creatures there too, but he got too excited after seeing the heap of tasty grass and forgot his mission. So while everyone watched him dumbfounded, he made a fool of himself by eating the grass like a true glutton. The Minotaur King feels that he should be disqualified as a leader and a warrior for doing something so shameful. However, he also gained something very important from this trip. He thinks that given the neatly planted grass, the place was certainly a field, and he wonders if the beings who were with the giant crimson bear raised them. He can only remember a hazy vision of them and thinks that there is one face there that he recognizes. Suddenly, it clicks to him and he recognizes the father farmer rabbit. He thinks that the rabbit must be the owner of the field. The Minotaur King has no idea what the white farmer rabbit was doing with the crimson bear, but he finds it interesting. As he munches the green onion leaves, the Minotaur King thinks to himself that he shouldn't steal the belongings of small monsters. The blue moon is coming soon, and then the time allowed for him to leave the waypoint will be reset. As the one protecting the entrance to the 99th floor, he is only allowed to be away from the waypoint for just 1 hour. The Minotaur King knows that it is a short time, but he plans to use it to visit the field again and pay the price of the grass he took from the white farmer rabbits. He is excited that this is his chance to negotiate for more good quality grass too. However, the realization hits him immediately. He has nothing to pay them with. Well, there is a giant crystal behind him, and the way it is gleaming, it seems to have some real value. And everyone has gotten back to work. The mother rabbit and her daughter Sickle Rabbit do the work of harvesting the green onion stems, while the baby rabbits carry them away. The father rabbit is watering plants with his golden watering can, while Sejun is working with the magical cherry tomatoes that look straight out of a tomato ketchup ad. Sejun tells the sickle rabbit and the queen bee that, since he is going to leave the cave for quite some time, he wants to harvest as much as he can before heading out. He is feeling quite hot and sweaty, so he asks the queen bee to hold his hat for a while. The queen bee just wants to be useful and happily holds onto his hat. Sejun then continues harvesting tomatoes with his named dagger and cuts a bunch of them. Suddenly, a system message pops up in front of him, telling him that he has harvested 9 well-ripe cherry tomatoes at once. He has gained some more job experience because of that, and this time, the EXP meter is full. His grade as a tower farmer has increased from grade D to grade C. Sejun is in disbelief as he reads this message. He was so busy working in the past few days that he didn't even notice that his job grade was so close to leveling up. The system then tells him that as his job grade goes up, his job characteristics are enhanced. This time, the characteristic that has improved is Sejun's closeness with nature. He has become closer to nature and awakened one of his hidden talents. Sejun can't believe what he is reading, and then the name of the talent he has awakened is displayed. It is called Friend of Nature and provides the user with a fairly high affinity for nature. With this talent, communication with animals and plants that do not speak the same language becomes easier and clearer. Sejun is still taking his time to process the new talent, and he wonders if the system is telling the truth. He calls out to the father rabbit, who is harvesting crops too. The father rabbit asks Sejun if he called him, and that is a shock not only to RMC but to me as well. Sejun falls on his butt while exclaiming and gasping, and then quickly gets up to ask the father rabbit to repeat what he just said one more time. The father rabbit is confused, and then the sickle rabbit comes there and calls Sejun uncle, asking if anything is wrong. Sejun immediately starts cuddling with the sickle rabbit and asks her to call him uncle again, but she is visibly uncomfortable being hugged by him. She tells him to let her go, or she is going to slash him. Sejun tells her that she should not slash him, or he will get another bald spot. The sickle rabbit finally realizes that Sejun understood her, and the father rabbit is also hit by the realization at the same time. Sejun proudly affirms their questions and tells them that he has awakened a new talent that allows him to talk to animals. The sickle rabbit and father rabbit are happy to hear this, and they immediately call everyone to them. When they tell them that Sejun has started to understand them, no one believes it. The mother rabbit immediately questions her husband, asking him if Sejun picked up and ate something weird, and he panics as he tells her that he did nothing. Sejun tells her that he didn't pick up or eat anything out of the ordinary and complains that the mother rabbit doesn't trust him. She freaks out upon realizing that he truly understands her words. Immediately after that, the black warrior rabbit leaps at Sejun, calling him uncle and once again asking him if he understands them. He claims that he wanted to talk about so many things with his uncle. Sejun sits on the ground as he holds the black rabbit in his palm. He addresses all his nephews and nieces, the black rabbit, the watering can rabbit, the shovel rabbit, the cart rabbit, and the sickle rabbit. He knows that everyone was frustrated because of the communication barrier between them, and now that it has been removed, They should talk about everything they couldn't do before. Everyone is happy to hear that, and they cheer on Sejun. Next, the queen bee nervously approaches Sejun and anxiously asks him if he can understand her too. He pats her head gently, telling her that he can clearly hear and understand her now. The queen poison bee is really happy to hear this, and she immediately drops the hat as she rushes to hug Sejun. The army of her kids follows her, and Sejun can only lay on the ground as everyone hugs and cuddles him. He can understand them now, and he tells them that he also likes them as they do. Sejun gets up and says that he should share this good news with the people outside the cave too. The father rabbit gives him his hat, and Sejun thanks him as he puts it on. Suddenly, he gets another system message, telling him that the artifact grade hat he has is resonating with the job advancement of the user. As Sejun's job grade has increased to C, the grade of the straw hat has also increased to C. Sejun is astonished to find that just by going up a grade, the grade of his straw hat also increased. The system windows in front of him show the limitations on the straw hat that have been released after reaching grade C. All the skills he got from the hat, including protection of Mother Earth, farmer's body, and wishing for a good harvest, have been freed from their restrictions and leveled up. Also, Sejun has received a new skill from his hat, which is Growth Promoter Level 1. Sejun is curious about the newly acquired skill and taps it to find details. It is an active skill that boosts the growth rate of 10 crops for a week without any side effects. The cooldown time between using this skill is 10 days. Sejun yells that the effect of the Growth Promoter skill is awesome. He gets an idea about how to use it and goes outside the cave. Sejun plants a few sprouts of the special crop he has not harvested even once, the sweet potato sun pumpkin. He plants the sprouts in the ground and, as usual, gets some job experience and skill proficiency from them, and his skill sowing level 3 increases the probability of the sweet potatoes taking root. Sejun then uses his skill growth promoter on the plants, and golden light covers them. The system tells him that the growth rate of the sweet potatoes will increase for 1 week. Sejun is glad to hear that. He was looking for the right time to plant the sweet potato sun pumpkin outside the cave and got the perfect chance thanks to his new skill. Sejun thinks that using the growth promoter skill, the plants will take root quickly and become more stable. Since there is not much safe space on his outdoor farm, he just planted them near the green onions and thinks that it should be okay. Well, apparently his luck says psych, but in a good way. The green onions planted next to them suddenly start glowing, and the sweet potato sun pumpkin plants start vibrating like an old Nokia phone. Then, in an instant, they suddenly grow big, and Sejun is surprised by the growth rate. He wonders if this is just the effect of the growth promoter skill, but the system tells him that he is wrong. The skill wishing for a good harvest was activated on the green onion field, and its energy simply seeped into the sweet potato sun pumpkins as well. That is why, until the effect of the skill on the green onion is over, the yield of the sweet potatoes also increases by 50%. Sejun thanks the god of plot armor for this double buff, and exclaims that now they can harvest the sweet potatoes even faster. Just then, he hears Kyung scream and turns around to find that the baby crimson bear is ready to pounce on him. Kyung calls Sejun dad as he jumps on him, and our poor MC can only scream in horror. They fall to the ground, and the bear cub once again calls Sejun dad, asking if what the rabbit said is true and if he can understand him now. Sejun is still trying to process that Kyung thinks he is his dad, while the bear cub licks his face. He then suddenly screams out that he is not anyone's dad. In fact, he is a pitiful virgin who has never even dated a girl. Sejun turns to Kyung's mom and asks her if she is okay with what her son is doing. She first expresses her surprise at the fact that he can really hear them. After that, she says that she actually likes it that her son calls Sejun his dad, because he is the perfect man in her eyes. She thanks Sejun for taking her and her son under his care, and that leaves the pushover of a man no choice. He decides to accept Kyung as his really cute and chonky son as he rubs his chin. Kyung tells him that he is hungry and wants to eat honey and green onions. He also wants to eat sweet potatoes and fish. He claims that he wanted to say this to his dad a lot of times, and Sejun says that since his bear son wants to eat a lot, he will prepare something special for him. Kyung asks him what it is, and Sejun tells him that he is going to harvest a new crop today, which is potato. He goes to the potato field and uproots a bunch of potato tubers growing on a single plant. The information window calls them strength potatoes that are nutritious and delicious and an absolute necessity for any gym bro. Because Sejun's grade reached C, the rank of the potatoes he harvested is also C when consumed. The potatoes break down 30 grams of fat in the body and even increase strength by 0.5 for 10 minutes, and this effect can be stacked up to 10 times per hour. The shelf life of the crop is 90 days. I have a question. Does one need to consume the potato raw to have that effect? Well, Sejun simply steams the potatoes in a huge container and then tells everyone that it is time to eat. In the meantime, the rabbits have prepared other food items like roasted fish and corn. Everyone sits happily to eat, and Sejun thinks that this day is worth including in his diary of getting lost in the tower. He thinks that only good things will happen to him from now on, and the tower manager, Aileen, smiles at him as she watches him through the crystal ball while eating steamed potatoes. Everyone gathering outside the cave. The bear cub Queuing is throwing a tantrum and crying that he wants to stay beside his dad, while his mom tries to calm him down somehow. Sejun is ignoring him completely and asking Theo if he loaded his bundle with a lot of green onion plants. He affirms, saying that he has packed his bundle full of them thanks to the help of the wolf employees. After that, Sejun turns his attention to the bear cub and asks him if he is going to act so childishly. He asks him what he told him as his dad just now, and with tears in his eyes, Queuing replies that he told him to stay behind and protect his queen bee sister. The queen bee and one of her kids are perched on his head as he says this, and then Sejun asks him if he is going to keep kicking a fuss even after those instructions. Queuing finally agrees to calm down, but in return, he wants Sejun to promise that he will return from his journey soon. Sejun touches his forehead to the baby bears and tells him that he will return as soon as possible. He asks Queuing if he can trust in his dad and wait, and he nods like a little baby. With that, the leader of the wolves, Elka, calls Sejun the Great Black Dragon and tells him that he will escort him now. Sejun rides on the wolf's back along with the Black Warrior Rabbit, and Theo rides on his shoulder. It reminds me of the scene where Naruto was on top of a pyramid of toads. He also tells the Minotaur couple, Ox number 3 and Cow number 4, that it is time to depart to the waypoint, where the Minotaur King is. They start their journey with Queuing waving them goodbye in the back. Thanks to the fast sprinting speed of Elka, they quickly cover the vast distance between Sejun's field and the Minotaur territory. Sejun compliments Elka on his speed for that, but Theo and the Black Warrior Rabbit have their eyes covered because of the strong dust. Suddenly, Sejun spots a dark and eerie patch of hills in front of him and asks what that is. On first sight, it appears like a forest, but it is incredibly and unnaturally dark, almost like my future. Ox number 3 replies that it is the place where the jerks are, but that is not much of an explanation. Cow number 4 seems to be both the smarter and the sharper one of the two, and she tells Sejun about the dark area in detail. She explains that even on the 99th floor, there are many territories. The territory they are going towards belongs to the Minotaurs, while the area where Sejun's farm is the territory of the mama bear, Akka, the red fur. As for the dark forest, it is the territory of someone called the corrupt beings of the west. Sejun is curious about them, but Cow number 4 doesn't tell him much apart from the fact that they were not always corrupt. She tells Sejun that right now, it is not good for him to know about the details or to go near the place. She explains that the place is dangerous and urges him not to go anywhere near it. Sejun is curious about the corrupt beings and thinks that he will ask Aileen about this in detail later. They take the long way to avoid the dark patch, and then suddenly, a ball of mud hits Sejun in the face with such great force that he throws off his ride. Everyone is worried about him. Theo is the first to react, followed by Ox number 3. Who asks him if he is all right, and then by Elka, who is terrified that someone dared hit the Great Black Dragon. Sejun gets up and tells everyone that he is fine while wiping the mud from his face. After he looks at the mud on his hands, he looks ahead and finds a herd of Minotaurs eating mud. Just seeing it makes me wanna puke, but Sejun realizes that the Minotaurs have to eat mud because there is nothing else to eat in this place. He also understands that this food scarcity is the reason they get so crazy the moment they see anything green. As Sejun is still sitting on the ground, the Black Warrior Rabbit joins him and even asks Theo to come down. The cat acts like an entitled brat and declares that he won't come down since he hates stepping on mud. While Elka apologizes to Sejun for letting that happen, Cow number 4 takes charge. She asks who dared throw food at their guest, and a Minotaur who looks like he is a bully comes out to greet the couple who have not come home since a long time. He asks them where they have been spending their time so amicably, and then notices the guests. He tells Ox number 3 that he is too weak to bring any toys to this place and asks him to give them to him so that he can play well with them. That earns him a crushing punch to the face from Cow number 4. The punch sends the bully wannabe spinning in the air before crashing down on his back, and I think this is pretty much what will happen in the Mike Tyson vs. Jake Paul fight. With that, Cow number 4 declares that they have no time, and they must immediately go to the Minotaur King. Her boyfriend is just fangirling over her from behind, and I am starting to wonder why someone as good as Cow number 4 would settle for him. In the meantime, a Minotaur has rushed to their king's side to inform him that the Minotaur couple is back, but they have brought some strange-looking guys with them. Before the Minotaur king can inquire any further, ox number 3 and cow number 4 appear before him. They declare that they have arrived with guests from Red Fur's territory, and this makes the rest of the Minotaurs a bit anxious. The Minotaur king is relieved that they have come to meet him themselves, as now he doesn't need to waste his precious time going to them. He welcomes the white farmer rabbits, whom he believes are underlings of the Red Fur, but then gets surprised as he notices that the only white thing among them is Sejun's t-shirt. The Minotaur king says that he doesn't look like a white rabbit and asks who he is, and Sejun introduces himself by his name, followed by Theo. Well, the Minotaur king has never met humans before, and it shows because he thinks that Park Sejun is the name of the species. He has never heard of this species called Parcus sejunus before, but quickly moves on and commends him for coming all the way here. The Minotaur king leans on his throne as he says that a few days ago, he had a great taste of the grass they farmed and remarks that it must have been difficult for Sejun to survive on the 99th floor with his weak powers. He adds that he doesn't know the reason he is working under Red Fur but promises to save him from the mama bear in case he is facing any kind of injustice. He declares that it is his consideration for weak monsters like him, and he allows Sejun and his group to speak freely. Well, Sejun is about to give him a fact check and tell him that he is mistaken about some things. First, he doesn't work under the mama bear, and instead, she and her baby help him out. Second thing, he is not here to ask to be saved from unfair treatment, but rather to complain about something. Sejun tells the Minotaur king that he is here to get compensated for what he stole from his farm 3 days ago. Sejun tells him with a smug expression that unless he wants to be labeled a thief, he must pay up what he owes him. The Minotaur king doesn't take his words kindly, and he starts raging at Sejun, daring him to say that again. He crushes the rock underneath his feet, asking how dare lowly beings like him accuse him of stealing. He refuses to accept the allegation that the strongest being on the 99th floor, the Minotaur king, is a thief. Sejun is barely holding his ground in front of the Minotaur king's mighty roar, but even as he keeps his hat from flying away, he asks him what he is, if not a thief, and Theo seconds his opinion. Sejun then lashes out at him, asking, aren't Minotaurs supposed to be warriors of honor? But instead of getting embarrassed about what he did, their king is getting angry first. Hearing his words, the other Minotaurs start doubting if the human is telling the truth. They wonder if their boss really stole the grass they ate 3 days ago. Seeing them question him, the Minotaur king does a 180 on his stance and tells Sejun that there seems to be a misunderstanding. He comes up with the excuse that, as the protector of the waypoint, there is a limit to his actions away from his post, and he came to his field in a rush. He did not have much time to talk, so he just took away the grass, but he had every intention to pay him back eventually. The Minotaur king is still a bit nervous about his answer, and he just laughs to hide it. He then asks Sejun what his wish is so that he can fulfill it. He is ready to give him rare or legendary grade items, but Sejun is not interested in any of those. Instead, he asks the Minotaur king if he can let him use the waypoint. The Minotaur king is taken aback and asks him to repeat, and Sejun says that the price he wishes for is being allowed to use the waypoint. Well, the Minotaur king thinks that it is acceptable and decides to honor Sejun's wishes. He calls him forth to fulfill his desires, and Sejun is elated that he will finally get out of the tower. He climbs on the platform and walks towards the waypoint, dreaming of going outside. He notices the giant floating crystal and reaches towards it. As Sejun touches it, suddenly he gets a system message in front of him. The message says that the tower waypoint on the 99th floor has been saved, and now the system is loading another saved waypoint. However, since Sejun has never been to another floor before, there is no waypoint other than the 99th floor stored in his data, and he cannot move to another floor. He is shocked that he cannot move, and the Minotaur king asks him if it is because he is someone who was not born inside the tower. He doesn't know how Sejun came to the 99th floor, but the rule of the tower states that all external entities must register themselves on the waypoints at each floor, starting from the first floor. That is the only way outsiders who are invited into the tower can move through the floors. The Minotaur king tells Sejun that, with only the 99th floor on his list, he is not eligible to go to another floor. That was enough to break him down, and Sejun falls to his knees as his hope to escape the tower is shattered. With this, the video ends. Well, RMC was really looking forward to getting out of the 99th floor, but the tower hit him with a psych. Let us wait to see how he copes with that and what else happens in the next chapter. Till then, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and check out more of our videos.